Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to today's stream. Today we got Bob from Chem-X, probably one of my favorite companies I've used thus far. I'm gonna bring him in. Everything's gonna be, open questions to the audience and everything as viewership starts to climb up, and we'll take it from there. So, hey, Bob, how's things going? How's everything?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on here. This is super cool.
Yeah, definitely. No problem, dude. I haven't checked your channel in a while. I saw you had a couple videos I haven't watched yet, so
Well,
I'll have
they're
to check
long,
those out.
probably. I did one that was 2 hours long a little while back.
Yeah. And
Like
that's
making a
that, that's
movie.
that's something I wanted to mention. I was just thinking about, I was like, there's not a lot of companies out there on, this smaller scale of operations that are making videos where they're just like using all their products to do exactly what they're made to do. And I mean, your channel's just full of tons of videos with you cleaning big trucks and industrial equipment. It's awesome to see.
I really appreciate that, man. I appreciate all your support with it, helping me get my
Yeah,
name out there a
yeah,
little
definitely.
bit.
Because I mean, you
Yeah.
you clean, actual stuff that gets used. A lot of places you see what they're cleaning is, I don't know. You see people that make artificial messes. There's some channels like that, like they threw a bucket of muddy water on the car or whatever before they
Oh,
started the
yeah.
video.
Yeah.
But yours is just like you're just bringing truckers in off the road. Some of them have really nice fleets. Some of them are just like haven't washed it all winter, and it's just like the worst
Yeah.
you can think of, and your
Yeah.
stuff's just like cutting right through it.
Well, I'm working on one of those right now and it's coming out horrible, man. I gotta, that's like,
I see
and
that.
that's what, like, I always try and just show what I'm not happy with as I'm doing it. Because a lot of the work that I do on the videos here, it's not really, it's kind of multi-purpose. Like I'm trying to get a feel for my own brand, which I've developed it off the feedback of my customers over a long period of time, probably 24 years now of working with customers that use our soaps. And then, they have some thoughts like, hey, this didn't really work for us here, or this worked too much and burned something, or,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. And so we dialed in a lot of stuff over the years. And up till about 4 years ago, I think that was about when I started building this room here. I always built the rooms that people do the work in. I built wash bays, built power washers, and it was pretty cool to do, and I enjoyed it. But I was always jealous of the setup when I was done. I always wanted one of my own. So like, I finally realized when I started posting online, like using Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that, that it kind of made sense for me to have a spot where I could just
Yeah.
make videos and
And
talk
dude,
to my
your
customers
wash
that
bay is
way.
like one of the best wash bays I've ever seen, like detailing
That's
or not.
cool.
Like it's just
Thank
it's
you.
everything's
Yeah.
right. Like you can see right behind you, you got your different wands set up. Like everything's just ready
Oh
to
yeah.
go and get straight
Yeah.
into it. Most of us, we gotta hold on. I gotta fill up my foam cannon. Let me grab these chemicals. Let me
Oh
grab, like,
yeah.
you've got your cart, you got your shelf on wheels that you just roll around with. You like, oh,
Yeah.
it's bringing around. So
We
it's
should
pretty
take a
awesome.
tour of this place. I think people would like that. I always get asked to like walk around here, but we'll hang out for a little while longer. But like, I think, this is what I knew how to do is build the room and the
Yeah.
environment and the power washers. And like, I built power washers from scratch for a lot of years, did all the welding and coatings and controls and everything myself.
Dude, and
And then,
people are always like taken back. Like I get in because I'm in a lot of detailing groups, and of course, people ask, "What's the best pressure washer?" And I'm like, "Well, for washing cars, you don't need anything crazy." I'm like, "But the breath pressure washer, electric," and I always link the ones on your site. They're just
oh, cool.
like
Thank you.
40 amp. Holy crap! Like it's the thing's insane. I'm like,
Yeah,
this thing's
man.
got more power than most gas pressure washers with the Honda engines
Well,
and everything.
I
Like,
I always tell people I don't really sell soap. What I sell is time. Like
yeah,
the companies that have always hired me to come in and help them streamline things, like their goal is to get more trucks done in less time and spend less time on, spend less money on the labor and get more trucks done at the same time. So that's what I always designed my systems for and like help train people to do one-on-one. And then I just decided
nice.
I would just set up to do it here and put it on YouTube. So like it's helped a lot because I used to drive around and get FaceTime with all these people, and I loved it. I could talk one on one with the owners or the people in the wash bay doing the work. And but at best you get to talk to maybe 10 people a day if you're cranking,
Yeah,
and so doing it this way, it's pretty nice because I can really do a good job, get really thorough, make it really tight on the edit, and then and it just helps get across the same, like a better message to the same people, but all at once, you know. And so it's pretty cool to do it this way. It's really
Yeah, no
worked out a lot
Massachusetts
better.
traffic, you got to deal with that way too. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, and
yeah,
we
I don't miss
actually,
that.
I'm in a good spot though for like, so I knew a lot of people in the trucking industry and customers around this area, and we're right at there's two main highways that run right through
Oh,
where I
okay.
am, and I'm right at that intersection. So there's like one northbound and southbound, and one eastbound and westbound that kind of meet right where we are.
Yeah, that
So
works out pretty good.
it works out good because, like, you know, like this truck here, like if people are semi-local, they can pop in, bring by their truck, and drop it off for the weekend. That's why I'm still here. I'm actually doing this video. Like I was just doing this right now, and you know, I'll keep a vehicle here from Friday through Sunday or Monday or something like that, and it works out pretty good because like the truck is off the road. They're not working it at that moment, and then my place
Lets
is
it
shut
cool off
down,
and
so I can
everything.
focus in. Yeah, lets it cool off, and then there's a lot more peace and quiet. When I try and film midweek, it gets tricky in here because
Yeah,
this is like literally our loading dock for everything. So we got pallets coming in and
everything's
out, and
going
people
on.
are
Yeah, I
like,
mean, I understand what
yeah,
that's like. You know, when I was in the army, I was a tank crewman, so I lived in the motor pool pretty much when we weren't out training. So we've got the tanks, big trucks, everything just constantly going. Of course, you
nice.
know, the U.S. government's all about tree hugging. So when we wash the vehicles off, we don't get to use any soap or anything. We just
Oh,
use
really?
like these high pressured water blasters that are like, I don't know, 6, 7 GPM or something, and it's all just in a reservoir that recycles the water. So
Oh,
you can only
really?
get it so clean that way. But I mean, it's all, you know,
Yeah.
flat paint anyways. So
It's funny. A lot of people tell me like one common thing I see when I'm doing my thing. People are like, "Oh, the power wash is doing 99% of the work," and I actually agree with that. I mean, like that's
it's
very
the best
true.
tool for cleaning vehicles. It really is. Like
Yeah.
compared to a garden hose, absolutely, it's doing most of the work, but you still got that last bit to get through. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it just gives you that little bit of an extra edge. Like my two-step soaps work really good for, you know, just breaking down more types of dirt and helping loosen up the surface so that the power washer can get it, so that when it dries, it looks decent. You know, other than this
Yeah.
truck, I don't know what's going on with this one. This one's fighting me. You know,
I
sometimes
mean,
like
it might just be the paint. You know.
well, this is a fresh truck. This is a 2023 that I'm working on right
Oh
now,
wow. Okay.
and it's I don't
The
think it's
wheels look
been
good.
washed. Well, from a distance, yeah. I
I
mean,
guess
it
so.
hasn't really been washed in a while. I think that's one of the limitations, you know, like so when you're trying to do a touch-free wash, like you have to kind of keep up with it a little bit, and then if it's too far gone, you still have to break out some contact, you know.
Yeah, and I wanted to
So
touch on so your touchless washes. That is how I found your company. And then I went through your YouTube library and I saw that you've been doing this for a while before you got to that point. But that seemed to really just set Chem-X apart from every other chemical, you know, bulk chemical, whatever brand for vehicle cleaning.
yeah, well, what I did was like, so the two-step approach is not new. Like that's been around since the 70s, and
You
like
just made
it's
it better,
always,
more accessible.
well, I guess more accessible. I don't know if I made it better. I think it's not as, I would say it's not as good, but it's different. So like a lot of the two-step chemicals, like I grew up in this industry and we used to use hydrofluoric acid for the pre-soak and, you
Works.
know, really, really, really high pH
But a
neutralizer.
lot of
And
companies are getting away from hydrofluoric acid now too.
oh,
So
I did too. I did too. Cause like, you know, it worked really well. And, but it came at the expense of the windshield, it came at the expense of the polished aluminum,
your health,
clear coat, health. Like there's
yeah,
so many bad angles. And so, I grew up getting vehicles 100% clean, but it didn't really jive with like where the trucking industry went, where a lot of things are shiny now, a lot of nice trucks out there. And I wanted to deal with higher end trucks, you know.
yeah,
So we had to figure out a different way to do it. And, you know, it's just a different, you know, it took a little while to dial in the formulas, but I'm very fortunate that we have a chemist here who's like really, I mean, I met him probably uh, 8, 9 years ago, maybe now. And we joined up and he's blending right here, right in our
oh
place. So like
nice.
we're able to actually come up with stuff right on the fly. I can literally show him, hey, you know, this thing's not coming
You
clean
don't have to
enough or
mail
whatever
samples
it
back and
is.
forth and things like that.
Yeah,
He's like, hey,
and
check
we're
this
able
out.
to,
Oh, cool. You
and
know,
yeah, and we're able to blend right here. I used to use outside blenders like to have stuff with shipped in by the truckload,
yeah,
and that was, you know, there's expense with the transportation, and then there's like, delay and all that, and you're trying to like predict what you're going to need on that truck for a certain amount of time to get you by. And now at this point, all the raw materials are right here, so we can make
And
tweaks right
time
on the
is money, you
go.
know. So like
Yeah,
the less time you can spend on developing the products, the more time you save, the more productive you are, the more money you make, customers make.
yeah, it's worked out really good. And then the other thing I had to figure out was how to ship everything. You know, once I started getting the website figured out, like I built my first website back in 2015, and I used Squarespace. I remember putting it together, and then I remember taking all the pictures, putting the prices on there, and click and go, and just sitting back and thinking, all right, well, I'm just staring at it, waiting for something to
All right,
happen.
Bob.
You know,
So hey,
nothing happened,
yeah,
but
we
so
got our first question. David Boyce wants to know what's that 2-barrel pressure washer lance called? The one that I think it's the one that you twist to go between stars and stripes with your injector system.
well, this is it right here. Let me grab it real quick.
Nice.
Do you like my new rolly chair, bro? I grabbed this from Obsessed Garage. It was only like
Oh yeah,
600
the
bucks.
Vipers. Yeah,
I love it
yeah.
though.
Only $600. That's what kept me away from those. But I mean, hey, if you,
It's too good. It rolls towards my
I think for
drains when
what
I'm
you're
holding
doing
it.
and everything you got going on with production and everything, I think that's perfect. when you can
Oh yeah,
when it can be a business expense, it's
I
great.
was rolling around on the same stool for the last 30 years. Thing has the
That's a
wheels
good
are all
stool.
crooked, and no, it was junk when I bought it, and I just kept it. I don't
I
know
mean, it
why.
lasted 30 years, you know. So,
Well, I guess, but you know, it kept flipping out from under me, and then one day I was
oh
like,
yeah,
"Why am I doing this to myself? I could get a nice stool, you know." So anyway, this is the gun right here. I think this is the one you're talking about. Is that right, David? I think that's it. This is the dual lance style. So this is made of like all Suttner parts, and except for not now. This is actually MTM Hydro. This is MTM Hydro. This is MTM Hydro. The pipes and this valve here are from Suttner, um, and the grip is from Suttner. But I started putting these together because I wanted something that made. I needed something that was bulletproof for companies. You know, so like it was actually for Bay Crane down in Rhode Island. They wanted some help setting up a wash bay, and they have 100 different guys coming in at the end of the day
okay,
to
yeah.
wash
And
to
people
wash
just
their
don't.
own stuff.
People may
Yeah, so
not be respecting the equipment so nicely.
you
So,
never you can cut. So you have to design it with that in mind. That's fine. You know, high use environments. That's just what this is designed for. So the idea was instead of having a detachable foam cannon that would get lost or grow legs or whatever, you can just turn on and off and switch between these two pipes with this valve here.
boom, easy.
And
No walking
so
back and forth.
no walking back and forth and no detaching anything. So everything's hard piped in when I do a like a company setting. And that way, you know, it's always there for the next guy. And also there's no refilling canisters. So like everything's injected back at the
Yeah.
source from drums or whatever kind of size you got. So this has been a good solution for us. I'm gonna change it around a little bit. I've been using this one where I have these Q connects on it, and you've probably seen Q
Oh
connects
yeah.
before, but they're really nice. They're
Not
really the
wobbly.
only way. Yeah, they're not wobbly. There's no drama with the O-rings ever. So I've seen a lot of issues using normal QC fittings here. It just doesn't hold up. So I use these now, and I want to redesign this kit to have this kind of Q connect in it. Right now they're hard piped into the guns, but I'm going to start using this gun, the MGM Hydro SGS 35, and their version of the Q connects. I'm going to see if I just brought in a bunch of these, but I think they're starting to bring them in stainless for me. They're supposed to let
Okay.
me know because I want to keep it all stainless if I can.
You know, I've always
Um,
said, like, because it's funny, you get the Viper chair from Obsessed Garage. Like, when I started watching your content and seeing the things you come up with, I'm like, Bob is kind of like Obsessed Garage for like the trucking fleet. Because
yeah,
you're
I guess
coming up
so.
with
It's
all
pretty
these
cool.
good, durable solutions. They're pricey, but I mean, you're paying for
Yeah.
quality. It's a buy once, cry once situation most of the time.
There's like I feel like there's a lot of stuff on the market that's very inexpensive that you can get anywhere, but there's not a lot of solutions that are
And
legitimate
there's tons of
that'll
stuff
get the
on
work
Amazon,
done.
you know?
Yeah, so like, and there's certain things like the those new foam cannons that I brought in. I got those straight out of China, and I'm forwarding them on for like cost. Those are not like a high end solution, but I
Right.
figured maybe
But it's a lot
price
more
point.
affordable.
Yeah, I thought it would help make my systems more affordable because like if
Yeah.
you're using two MTM Hydro PF22s for these two step soaps, you know, you're into that for some money. And I've been able to sell, like we're just in the wrapping up our spring sale right now, and I've been able to move the 2 gallons of touchless soap with the two chrome cannons, is what I named them, for like just a little over $100 delivered
Yeah, that's not bad
during
because
the
I think you
sale.
sell like the whole kit, like bundle, right?
Yeah. Try and make it accessible. And if people already have a couple of foam cannons, then they're all set. But
And hey,
I
these
just wanted
what
to
I
make
liked
it
about
affordable.
these, like what really put me towards them, is they're color coded. So you
Yeah,
got
I thought it
red,
was
red for
cool.
stars, blue for stripes,
Yeah.
or is it the other way around? I forget. Um,
Yeah. No, yeah.
yeah,
Blue and red. Blue for
I've
stars,
tried a
red for
few other
stripes.
companies, touchless washes,
Oh, you have?
and yeah, I've tried what is it? Image Wash Solutions. I think they may be
Yep.
your biggest direct competitor.
I think so.
Um,
Probably as far as like the style of what we're doing, and like I would say they're probably the closest. I think they get a lot of really good feedback though, as far as like
Yeah,
how
no,
theirs works.
they're a great company to deal with too.
Yeah.
I did try their touchless out though, and I think their touchless is largely reliant on higher pressure and GPM
Okay.
because my setup, as well as most of my viewers, were using 15 amp electric pressure washers that are usually 2 GPM and under, and
Yeah.
between 1500 2000 psi. It's not
Yeah.
crazy powerful, but at the end of the day, we're just mostly just rinsing soap off the car, maybe
Yeah.
cleaning our siding, and with
So you have to
stars
hit.
and stripes, it works perfectly. When I
Okay,
used
that's
Image
good.
Wash Solutions, there's a lot of residue left behind. Same Renegade tried theirs as well, um, and just it didn't work out. And I don't know if it's maybe because I don't have a higher psi pressure washer, but I like the fact that your products, even if you don't, still work great.
That's good to hear. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, because like ours definitely are they're pretty powerful soaps. I mean, they definitely do a lot of work.
Yeah,
So,
and they smell really good.
um,
Well, I mean,
thank
Star
you. Yeah,
smells really good.
Stars
Stripe
does.
smells like a degooser.
Stripes,
I mean,
yeah, Stripes. We tried to get it to have good scent in there, but
I know with
something about a
those
high P.
yeah, those
It's
more
the high
caustic
pH.
chemicals,
Yeah,
they kill
they
any
just
aroma.
they just absolutely eat the aroma right out of the formula. Like
But it's
heavy
nice when you're
duty
using
smelled.
stars and you're like, oh, that smells great,
That
instead
one
of you're
works.
using
Yeah.
hydrofluoric acid and you're coughing up your lung.
Yeah, no, that one works good. And then, even heavy duty, like when we first designed it, it was like grape scented and it was awesome. It smelled like grape soda. And then it just went away after three
Yeah,
days after
it
the
just
blend.
well, that was cool. Maybe you
What's
can get a
David
fresh
got
batch.
here? David says, "What truck brushes do you and you are you worried about scratching paint?" I do use the auto fiber mitt on a stick. I use it all the time. I have like two of
Yeah,
them right
I've
there.
got
I
I've
like
seen
those.
that one. I've got one of my friends actually. He does a lot of the video content. He like
Mhm.
behind the camera for auto fiber. And
Oh,
then
nice.
there's another guy not too far from where I live. He's actually very close to Fort Hood, or Fort Cavazos as it's called now. He's the guy in most of their videos showing the new products. I think his company's called like Harker Heights Ceramic Coatings.
Okay.
But yeah, they're doing all these. So I've got a lot of auto fiber stuff as well. I don't
Yeah,
have
I
the mid
love
on
them.
the stick though. I went with microfiber madness for mid on the stick
Oh,
because I
okay.
like how it breaks down easily.
I haven't seen that. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it's
I haven't.
sold by Sky Car Care out of Florida. Their website I think is carprous.com.
Okay.
But they carry the whole microfiber madness brand, which comes out of Germany.
That
So
sounds nice.
yeah,
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 that's
it's
not, I'll have to check that out.
pretty nice
Those
stuff.
kind
But
of those kind of concepts of having the mitt like material at the end of a pole is kind of rare. I had a couple of them that I got off Amazon for like 20
they're junk.
cents, and the problem was really the pole. Like
Yeah.
when you have a sectional pole, like I think that's where what I like about the mitt on a stick is that it's so rigid when you put it
Yeah, and
together.
that's for what
So
for big trucks and things like that. It's perfect. I think
yeah,
now the microfiber madness one, it's sectional, but it is solid once you have everything locked in. That's what I noticed about
okay.
it versus the Amazon ones.
Yeah, and that's kind
Um,
of similar with the auto
I
fiber
did find
ones
an
too, I
Amazon one
guess.
that's two sections that you screw together and it's really long. But it's the same crappy mitt on the end. Like it's it's
Oh
not going to
yeah.
scratch anything, but I don't like how it's got the pull string
Yeah.
secure.
Yeah.
But it's
And
better than nothing.
to answer David's question too about being worried about scratching, I mean, I do. Like I don't use normal brushes ever on paint. I always keep those for really rough areas, like maybe frame rails or something like that on a big rig but I always use the microfiber material because and I try and work even with the microfiber, you try and work front to back, right? Straight lines, not swirl things around just in case. that's how I go about that. I'm always trying not to damage anything,
Yeah, I tend to
you
go
know.
left to right on all the panels and everything,
Yeah.
and then the roof is just kind of for cars. I can reach the roof no problem. SUVs, I gotta get up high and I'm
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah,
reaching
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. But
That could be trickier, yeah.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
what you got where you got to get the scissor lift out, like that's a different
Yeah.
story. But
Thankfully I have one of those, because it would be really on these, I don't even know what you would do otherwise.
yeah,
I mean,
I can't imagine pulling a ladder around the shop all day,
yeah.
trying to
That's
get
what people
around,
do. I
a
got, yeah,
trailer or a bus or something. But
that is what people do, but I mean, we're fortunate. I needed a scissor lift here anyway, just because we have these ceilings, and to do anything, I needed to be able to get up there. Like
yeah,
when we
and there
first,
is a lot of the detailing industry, they a lot of people do buses and RVs a lot. Some people do with trucks, usually just the cab, but I see buses and
yeah,
RVs all the time, and I see these guys standing out there on ladders, leaning over, trying to get it buffed and everything, and I'm like, man.
dangerous.
Yeah, I
When
saw
you're trying
someone
to,
they got it on video somehow. I think from like the person's security camera, but they took a spill off that ladder and got hurt. But
oh,
that's you
oh
gotta be
man.
careful when you're out there doing that.
We've been fortunate here. We've never had any injuries,
That's
I
good.
still haven't slipped on the floor. It's not but when I epoxy coated this floor, when we first set it up, and it's pretty slippery. We put some aggregate in there, but when it gets wet and there's soap on it,
Yeah, you're gonna have to get the
it's,
non slip restaurant shoes.
yeah, 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 yeah. Why did I burn my power washer? I really wanted to well, that's not an actual problem, but I wanted it to break in any way that it could so that I could show what symptoms look like. So we were able to break the pressure switches with a flamethrower, which worked out pretty good. And then I wanted to see just how durable the pump was, like can it take a flamethrower to the pump manifold for an extended period of time? And it really held up good. It's a general pump that are used on the X Factors, and
I mean, it was for
they
science,
actually,
like you said. So
for science, yeah, for science. And it also is just it's it's not the kind of video that I figured would get a lot of engagement. I just kind of needed it. You know what I mean? Like I needed to have like something so I could show
yeah,
people like each issue and
and
what to do. And
I'm kind of with
so,
you on there. As content creators, you know what you start to learn what gets a lot of views. But
mm,
at the same time,
yeah,
you've got your own integrity to your channel, and you're like, I
hmm,
still have people that are big fans that have been following for a long time, whatever the situation is, that want to
yeah,
see my more like core stuff, and it may not be as
hmm,
popular, but over time you'll see a
yeah,
lot of people just like, thank God this video's here.
yeah. And I'll admit, I'll just tell you right now, I do things to get people worked up as much as I can. I like to get people talking. It's a good way to get opinions back and forth, get people to
Yeah.
start saying something, which just kind of
I
helps
mean,
everything
I've
move
done a
along.
few. I'm not the first to do this, obviously, but with the polishers and everything, breaking them down, replacing the bulk grease in there with some slightly better quality grease, and just showing the internal workings if you did have to maintenance it, and people come across like, oh, thanks, I've got this exact model. Like that's really helpful.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, we have a good amount of these power washers in the field. I used to be out there doing the maintenance myself, and now we're walking people through it because we have these power washers are all over the
All
country
right, so
now.
we got
So
a
like
question about snake oil here. One of the best
mm,
products ever made for saving time.
cool. Glad you like it. Yeah, is it ceramic rinseless? Yeah, it's an SiO2. It's an SiO2 ceramic, so it's not an SiC ceramic.
Not rinseless
Uh,
though.
no, yeah, not rinseless.
It does have to be rinsed. That's how it
Yeah,
works.
it's designed to be. So what you do is you clean the vehicle, you get it as clean as you can, and then you foam on snake oil through a foam cannon, and then you just rinse it off with your power
Yeah.
washer,
So
and that's how it goes on.
for David, probably the best way I could explain it, if you're familiar with products like Carpro Hydro 2, Geon Wet Coat, it's kind of like that, but instead of having to go around the whole vehicle section by section with a spray bottle, this goes into a foam cannon, so it suds up, and you can hit the whole vehicle at one time really quick, and then just rinse it off. So it's I call them foam and rinse sealants opposed to spray and rinse sealants. It's time saver, really. It's because
Yeah,
or if you got like that truck in the background, I couldn't imagine going with a spray bottle trying to coat that entire thing. That would
and I
take
wasn't able
forever.
to either. I wasn't able to either. That's one of the things I was saying earlier was that this room is not just really for making the videos, but it's for finding out what I need. And I was always leaning on our customers to let me know, like, what would help you? But it doesn't always occur to everyone, like, and what I noticed when I was cleaning up vehicles, I would get them really clean. I had a great solution for that with our two-step soaps. But when it came to putting any kind of protection on there, all I had was a sprayable product. And it was my first detail spray. It was the kind of spray you would put on there, and it would, you would wipe it around with one microfiber, and then it would haze up, and you come back with a buffing
Was that
cloth and buff it.
the spray, kind of like the spray wax that you had?
Yeah, that's the original one we came out with, and that was just so much work. And to do a vehicle like
It's a lot of real
this,
estate to cover.
it was impossible. I just wasn't doing it, and I
You
didn't
like
want
a
to
crew
just
of people to get it done.
yeah, I didn't want to just do the paint. I wanted to do the undercarriage and try and do something to help protect that a little bit, and
Yeah.
just make everything real nice. So like, I realized pretty quick that I needed something that was foamable that could just spray on and rinse off.
And that's what's really nice about it, is it gets it, the foam gets into every crack, crevice, anywhere you
yeah,
spray
it gets everywhere.
So
yeah, it gets
you got
everywhere.
protection
And that
all
one's
over.
and it's very forgiving to use too. It's pretty easy. You don't really have to worry about any sort
Dude,
of application.
it
method
is, because
rules or
I'll tell
anything.
you, I'm in Texas, obviously. Sunlight gets insanely intense down here, even just
Yeah.
early morning. If I go out there with a spray and rinse sealant and I hit one panel and I wait like 2-3 seconds too long, now I've got all these high spot streaks from the ceramic curing before it's rinsed off, and
Yeah,
it just
yeah,
it looks kind of like hard water stains. It looks terrible. But the black SUV that I tend to do, my mother-in-law's vehicle, I'd like to use Chem-X products on that, because I don't feel like washing the whole thing by hand and getting all down and dirty with it. I use snake oil to protect it, and like, I don't know, 2-3 minutes, I'm done.
That's cool.
So-
I'm glad to hear that, man. That's the kind of stuff that there's one weird thing about dealing with the whole country is there's so many different factors in different areas, like what you're talking about with the heat down there. There's different types of dirt in different areas of the country
Yeah.
too.
Different
You
types
might
of
see
water.
different
The
types of
water
water
that I have here is messing with a certain product that a certain company swears works, and I've got friends that are like, it works for me, and they're in different states, and I'm like, I don't know if it's just the lime scale in the water here, but it wasn't working as described.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the water is it's an ingredient, and you don't really think about it, but it is an
yeah,
ingredient. And,
especially
there's
you
different
got a lot of
quality
places
levels.
they test in controlled environments. They've got reverse
Yeah.
osmosis water. Like,
Oh yeah.
they may not find out until they start hearing back from people.
Yeah, that's I don't know if you can get away from that, because when I'm running my foam cannons or the power washer injector here, when the soap is coming out, only 1% of that liquid is the soap. So
Yeah, it's mostly water. So
it's 99% your water, and so it's a giant part of the equation.
you got places that have high iron in their water, and they're just
yeah. Well water is always difficult.
It smells really bad when you turn the hot water on. Like, I remember what that's like. So
yeah, definitely. So there's so many factors that, when we first came out with Stars and Stripes, like we did the advanced age testing and like all the different things we could even imagine to like make sure everything was right. And then it wasn't until we released it that we started getting like these people calling in that had damage on their aluminum. It was like staining their aluminum. And I remember wondering why, because like it wasn't happening to anyone but the customers who bought it in the drum size, which is the most difficult to resolve. So like, so it took a minute, but I gave it everything we had to try and figure it out. And we finally realized there was an incompatibility with the surfactant we were using in Stripes, where it didn't like, kind of like we were talking about the fragrance, it didn't like the high pH environment. It liked a low pH environment. So we had to switch the surfactants from Stars to Stripes, and that made them stable. But the impact of the surfactant not being compatible in high pH was that after, let's say, 2 to 3 months, it would cause the formulation to separate out and have a hot layer of sodium hydroxide in the drum at a certain level, like a time bomb going down toward the tube.
That happened to me with Renegade's Touchless wash. The high pH was separating, so it looked all cloudy at the top. And I wrote out to them, and I'm like, I'm having problems with this, but they seemed like they figured it out. They're like, hey, yeah, we're reformulating. We'll send you 2 new gallons once it's taken care of. So
what was interesting was it only affected the drums because the drums are stationary. and nobody's moving
So I
them,
never get
right?
okay.
So the gallons, it didn't impact anyone at all because every time you touch it to go use it, it was fine. It would go back in.
Turn it upside down.
And that's just one of those weird things.
You can run into the weirdest issues.
Yeah.
And sometimes people like it's legitimately an issue. Sometimes someone's just talking crazy, and you gotta like you're like, which one is it?
Yeah, definitely. That's a good question. It should make snake oil more beating power like ceramic. I think that so snake oil, I'll get into that one. When we released that one, it beated the same. It hasn't changed in performance since I first released that one. But we had just a hair more SiO2 in that one already than the water could hold. So just a hair more than the water.
And honestly, I think for what snake oil's intended audience, which is big trucks like the one behind you.
Yeah.
Beading is really nice on, high gloss finishes you find on cars and trucks. And it makes it really easy to dry off. But for big trucks, they take a while to get around to dry off. And I notice snake oil, it is a beater, but if you flood it, it has that slow sheeting action. Yeah. Or not slow, but kind of like moderate rate sheeting action, which leaves you, less susceptible to water spots.
It's a little bit by design because of that as well. Like I prefer sheeting over beading. And I don't know, maybe you could argue one's better than the other, but I
think it's all situational, honestly.
Yeah, I just want the water off of there so it doesn't leave any minerals behind. So like that's been working out pretty good. It is a very helpful solution for that. But unfortunately, I don't think we can pack any more beading into that anyway if we wanted to, because like
without changing the formula and making a new product essentially.
Well, it wouldn't even be that. It was just that that issue I was describing is that when we had too much SiO2 in it, it just wasn't stable over time. And after about 3 months,
some companies are going with other ceramic derivatives other than SiO2 as well. I've noticed.
What do you
polysiloxane, I think is a big one that's caught on. So it's still technically ceramic, but it's not SiO2 ceramic, so.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. And that's one thing that would help us is finding other things maybe beyond SiO2 or,
the market's gone crazy lately. A lot of, the ceramic coatings that you can get now don't even contain SiO2 anymore. They're using, they've expanded into all these other crazy, I'm not a chemist myself, so, I don't know the finer details, but you'll find a lot of them that are just like, hey, this actually has no SiO2 in it, but it still bonds, it still protects. And it can go one way or another, but there's all kinds of different things. But I think honestly, like snake oil, it's not the strongest beater in the world. It's not terrible beating wise, but I think for its intended use and the types of vehicles it gets used on frequently, it's like the sweet spot.
Well, it seems like it's been doing pretty good for us. It's been really popular. We've had, I like to have like as many like 1 and 2 and 3 star reviews as I can, so that people know that I'm not like just chopping them out,
delete them like some people do.
So that one, I've only had one non 5-star review on my website, and it was just one guy who at the time we only offered FedEx shipping, and he hated FedEx, and he told us 2 stars.
And I was like, out of your control. You're like,
but I was like, thank goodness. Well, I was glad because we needed because straight 5 stars is very suspicious. Anytime I look at a product and it's only 5 stars, I'm like, well, I mean, if you have a Shopify store, you're not like, you're in control of publishing the review, like. You know what I mean? So I think it's good to put those out there.
A lot of people control the reviews that gets put on there. But I mean, hey, at least we're being honest here. So
yeah, well, I like that approach. I would rather show people the failings that we have and what we don't like and what isn't working than to just have something that has almost too high of an expectation to it.
Yeah.
And that's why I like show
all the
people
things you see advertised on social media as being the next coming of the next coming of Jesus in a bottle for your car. And back in the day, I will admit, people may be shocked to hear this, but I bought Top Coat F11 when it first launched. Okay, I wasn't detailing yet. I was living in an apartment, But I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that looks like it's got some really good filling abilities, which it does. And then as I learned
Yeah.
more, I got more into detailing. I'm like, oh, of course it fills because it's just silicone. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
why it feels so good. And for a lot of
Yeah.
people, that's what they want. But
Yeah.
with their marketing, that's why it sells so well. But the way they
Yeah.
advertise it, I'm just like, come on.
That one was interesting. I met a lot of people who were like really diehard into it, and
Oh,
it was
dude.
so
If you
expensive,
meet
you know.
somebody who's used F11 before they got around to any other brands, like it's hard to get them off of there.
Yeah, and it's I mean it's fine. I don't, you know, I just feel like it's probably very inexpensive to make,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
I just feel
You know
like
how much chemicals cost to make versus how much
yeah,
they sell for, so
that's I mean silicones are not necessarily cheap too, but
right,
like
right.
for what they were charging, the size it was in, I mean it was just
I think right now it's like $60 for a 16-ounce bottle. It's insane.
yeah.
It
I
definitely
think there's something about price point that has a psychological impact
yeah.
where it's like a cognitive
Well, like
dissonance
I'm pretty
almost.
sure
Like you,
companies like that, they're not run by, blue collar people that are working doing all this stuff. They're run by people that are experts in marketing and they know how to target the right audience and
yeah.
get them to buy stuff.
At least
And
the
it works.
F11 at least it looks much better now. I mean, like years ago when it was really hot and everybody was into it, it was just like the worst looking carafe
It's like that
bottle with like the
standard like
worst
carafe
label
bottle that
with
you
like
get. Yeah.
Costco microfibers and like it was just so, and
I
it was
mean,
so
hey, I,
expensive
I
that I
got to
just
give it to them. The fact that it's still relevant today and I still see advertisements, they must be doing something right. Because a lot of these companies,
yeah,
they come in, they make their money, they take off. This
yeah.
one's actually stuck around, which is surprising. So.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. I mean, but yeah, I think that if you do pay that much for something, there's a certain like psychological impact
Yeah.
of like wanting it to work
Oh
because you
yeah. Like
spent the
there's
money. And if
waxes that
you,
cost like $200, $500, and
yeah,
like
yeah,
it's to me, I'm like, there's no way in hell. But other people are like, oh, this must be
yeah.
some really good stuff.
I came from like the background I spoke of when we first started talking was, you know, I didn't use social media. It was all word of mouth. I would help out a company, and then somebody would become aware of it somewhere else and call me up and say, hey, can you come out here and show us how you do your thing? And it was just very difficult to get new customers. And man, holding on to those customers was like my goal because it was so
Yeah.
hard to get new ones. And so I think that you have to have something that really provides value over a long period of time, or unless because like I've always dealt with the people in purchasing, right? Like they're looking at the overall expense
Bean
over the cost of the
counters.
year to keep their fleet clean, and you have to be on point with your pricing and your the value you're providing.
Yeah, and you got to
And
take risks to stand out too. So
yeah, but that's why like I still have that same kind of mentality that I don't really want to. I want to make sure that our stuff is priced right so that it's a good value and it does a good thing for
yeah,
people. And my goal is just keep people
and
on board, and not just be a one-time thing. Because
I
like
think your prices are good. They're very they're very affordable. It's not out of reach of your average vehicle owner.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
when you got sales, like your sales aren't constant like some companies are, so you just got
yeah,
to kind of hold out. But usually people are buying your products in large volume as it is. They're not just buying a 16-ounce bottle or an 8-ounce sample or something like that. Like
that's true.
you've got
Yeah,
your 32-ounce, gallon, and then 5-gallon, 55-gallon. Like take your pick. To me, a gallon will last me about a year. For the frequency that I use it more in the wintertime because it's just too cold and I don't feel like washing my car, but it's not freezing because where I live,
yeah,
so I can still wash the car, but my hands will get cold and I don't want them to get cold. So that's when I
yeah.
start to bust out stars and stripes a lot more often.
Oh
Um,
yeah, that's a good tool for that. Yeah, especially in the wintertime.
yeah.
You don't deal with salt down there, do you? Or
No,
do
we
you?
don't. We don't. They I think the most we get, like, they may salt and sand some of the bridges if inclement weather is coming in because they know the bridges
Yeah.
will freeze. Because we got a lot of upper deck highways too. And the
Oh,
roads are all concrete for the most part, so
Okay.
There's that
Yeah.
whole issue, but they
Yeah, you do get
usually that,
some
but
cold
it's not.
snaps down there.
It's like, you know, I grew up in New Hampshire, so I know what it's like up there.
Oh, really?
It's nothing like that. You know, you find a
Yeah.
lot of old classic cars here that are completely rust free. Like it's, you know,
Wow. Not up here,
this is
man.
the
There's not a
land
lot
of
of it.
car shows. I swear.
It's interesting. Every time I've ever talked about neutralizing salt on the internet, it feels like someone from California or Florida tells me that I'm a scam
What are
artist,
you
and
talking
then all
about?
I need to do is just rinse it off with water. It's neutral in the first place. And like, so
It doesn't quite work that way.
I'm letting my Jeep simmer. I actually am taking that advice as an experiment right now. I did a video detailing it last summer, and I've only been rinsing it with water ever since. And
No.
we went down to the Outer Banks, and I drove it into the Atlantic Ocean a little bit, and
Okay.
then
Well, this is the ultimate test
I
right
came
here.
back up. Then I came back up here and drove it in the you know, we have that liquid stuff, you know, I think it's calcium chloride or something like
Yeah.
that. And I've got a lot less paint on that thing right now, man. It's
Well, like,
crazy.
hey,
It's just
you're gonna
rinsing
have
it
your
with
answer. Like,
water.
hey, I put my
I want to
money where
find
my
out.
mouth is, and let's just
Yeah.
say it's a lot of money. Anyways,
Oh,
let me answer Jason's question here real quick.
yeah.
I recently bought an active premium short pressure washer gun. What connector do I need to connect it for a garden hose? Jason, I don't think you can connect a pressure washer gun to a garden hose. You may be able to find adapters that can size it down or size it up, whichever way you're going. But the opening through the pressure washer is so small, it's not going to work good with the low pressure from a garden hose. I
Yeah.
would say if you want to get something good that's for a garden hose that's going to give you decent pressure, Melnor makes some good, hose sprayers that aren't too expensive. Or if you want a fancy one, Gilmore, they make a pretty premium one if you're looking, and still not too expensive. So I would say to check those out. But a pressure washer gun,
Yeah.
it's not going to fit to a garden hose.
I mean, you could make it fit, but I
It's
mean,
yeah.
we could do that right now if you want to see
I
what it
mean,
looks like.
have you ever turned on your hose?
Let
Let
me
the
do it
water
right
go
now.
through the hose and through the pressure washer, and then you pull the
I've
gun. You just got like this little dinky stream of water.
I've got the ability to show it right now. Hold on, let me show.
All right, let's see
So
it.
it's actually so all the power washer does is not allow the water to slow down when it meets a constriction.
Right.
So let's see. It's gonna have some pressure in it, but let's see here. All
Yeah,
right.
that's
So
what you get.
I have a very big water line. I have a 1 inch water line coming up to this with a lot of pressure, but that's all that's making it
That's
out.
probably more than most household garden hoses are going to have.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
So, you know, that's the thing is that, man, you know, the whole power washer, the motor, the pump, if you run that without a nozzle, it's going to look like less water than your
oh,
garden
yeah.
hose still.
It's great for
But the
rinsing
thing
off your
is,
car though, without getting water
yeah,
spots everywhere. That's nice.
but the it's when the water has the pump backing it up that it does not allow the water to slow down when it hits the
Yeah,
nozzle. The
you can
nozzle is
think of
where the
it like
pressure is
using a
made.
manual bicycle pump versus an air compressor.
What's
You know,
that?
like if you're using like a manual bicycle pump to pump up a truck tire, you're gonna be there for a long time. You use an air
Mm,
compressor, a couple minutes.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
That's a good question. I actually do the roofs pretty much every time. I just haven't always filmed it. I do film it pretty frequently though.
Yeah, I know. I've
Um,
seen some of the videos where you do get up on the roof, but it seems like
yeah,
it's just a hassle to film every single time because you're
it's
kind of
it's more tricky to film it is
yeah,
the because I have
can't
some
really
pretty
fit the
good
tripod up
cameras
there so
and
easily.
yeah, I actually just mounted a ball head for my camera on my scissor lift so that I could aim the camera and have it attached. But I get nervous handling my cameras up there. I use Sony FX3s. So my A
Yeah,
camera is $8,000 and my B camera is built out as a cinema rig and that's
this
$15,000.
is my camera still. So,
I have like nightmares about dropping those things, and I just to get them up in the air like that it just feels uncomfortable. The scissor
yeah.
lift's a little wobbly. You know, both my hands are busy,
Have you
and
considered doing like the GoPro with the chest rig?
I have one. You know what? I keep coming, and I just bought those Meta glasses. I could you can take 1 minute spurts with those, so I
Oh,
might start
nice.
using those. Um, you know, the GoPro and the Meta glasses. I think the problem is when I use them. It bothers me how bad the quality is compared. It's such a difference from one camera to the next that I don't know. I hate it.
Switching,
So,
I guess when you're cutting between videos, you're like, oh, look, it looks great. And then you switch to the other one, you're like,
you
now it
have
feels like I'm in a hallway. What's going on?
I mean, I'm filming in like raw, like Cine EI, like literal raw footage that I can color grade, and then I put like cell phone level stuff on top of it. And
I've
I don't know.
got a question for you with that then, because I know video editing takes a lot of computing power for video of that caliber.
Yeah, definitely.
What are the specifications of your editing computer that you use? Like,
well, I've always used MacBooks because I have iPhones, and it's nice to be able to send files back and forth easily.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I can't hate on that, I guess.
The AirDrop thing is just a really big deal for me because I'll edit on the computer and I can AirDrop it to the phone within a few seconds and post if I'm posting short clips.
Okay. I was kind of hoping like you would have like, you know, a sweet gaming rig or something, but
my MacBook does pretty good. I mean, I have one of the newer MacBooks, and it has I have an 8 terabyte MacBook, so I'm able to. It was a little under 8,000.
Yeah,
which is gross, but it works. It's very expensive, but what I do is with it is
you're making
very
money
important.
With it, so
I just figured, you know what? It gives me the ability to have a lot of footage on there. It lets me make multiple hour-long videos, final videos. But my timelines when I load them up are 30 hours long. So because I have 2 cameras, video, huh? I shoot in 4K 60 at 200 bit. So like it's huge amounts of data, and with that MacBook, there's no lag. It doesn't have to render anything. I can color grade, and it's instantly there.
Yeah,
it's just
I understand where you're coming from. I got a friend of mine that does the videos for, you know, shooting the videos for Autofiber. He's not a computer guy. So, and if you didn't know, I do IT. I'm an IT tech full time when I'm not detailing on the weekends. So my specialty there is like ripping apart computers and servers and stuff like that. Like, I can sit there and tinker all
all day. I'm sure you must prefer Windows PCs than over Macs.
Absolutely. You know it. But
100%.
He had a pre-built gaming computer that he bought that was kind of like a mid-level gaming PC, you know, not crazy expensive, but not one of the cheap ones. But he was like, it takes me so long to process my videos. He's like, how can I speed these up? And I was like, what processor do you have? And he's like, oh, I've got this Ryzen 5. And I was like, well, there's your problem. You need your video editing. You need the Ryzen 9. Like you need double your core count to really power through that. And so once he got that, he swapped out the parts, some troubleshooting, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, wow, okay. Like we're cruising now.
It done.
And he's got a graphics card in there too to help it along. So, you know.
I wonder, you know, on a really professional level, I bet a lot of people in the video world would probably use Windows PCs.
I think it's 50-50, honestly.
Is it really?
Because everyone I've talked to that works in like the professional industry with video, mostly like news media and stuff like that, they're usually using MacBooks, but it's usually provided by the company. And I think the you know the interconnectivity of all the Mac products is just what simplifies the process for them. Because if you're using,
what I like too.
If you're using a Windows PC, and you got to have the PC knowledge of dealing with all that stuff. Yeah, Mac just makes it very simple.
I think it really for me mostly just boils down to the AirDrop.
Yeah,
like I use that's
the thing. It's that
I use that constantly
because you can get your phone to pair with your PC. There's a couple steps you got to go through. Like Apple just like sense that somehow knows that you have an Apple MacBook and iPhone. It's like, hey, do you want to sync these? And you're like, oh, nice. Cool, yeah, let's do
it. You want to check out my shop real quick while we're hanging out here? We're going till are we going till 8 o'clock or?
We're gonna go for until 8 o'clock your time, 7 o'clock my time, around that. It's not like a hard we're cutting you off, but like that's
okay, cool. So I don't have to rip around too quick. Hold on.
Yeah,
I'm using my phone actually right now too.
Okay,
let me get this here. We'll wander around the place a little bit. I think I can go with forward cam too. Oh no, wait, I just shut off my video. I'm not sure if I can go forward cam.
I'm on a PC, so I couldn't tell you. I've just got the one cam.
Well, here we go. All right, so I'll just be in the frame, I guess.
Cool.
So I'm doing something right now. This is kind of fun. I bought these things.
Oh, man. I got one of those. Is that the 40 volt?
This is a 40 volt. Yeah.
Okay, I got the 18 volt.
This is the 600 at
Yeah, the
0.7
brushless one.
GPM.
Yeah.
Dude, this is horrible. I don't know.
Well, I found that
I don't know.
useful for when I if for whatever reason I feel like detailing in my garage, and the garage is not a very big space,
Yeah,
or it also works good for rinseless wash solutions, so
I
you can
could see
spray it
that.
on.
Yeah. I'm going to
Uh,
use it as a degreaser applicator, like a pump sprayer.
yeah, it's definitely
I'm going to
nothing
put,
for trying to like wash an entire vehicle in place of a pressure washer. Like it's
I
gonna take
tried it.
forever.
I tried it, but then I bought this one. So I'm testing this
Oh, you
side
got
by
the oh
side.
yeah, yeah, nice.
So
Okay,
this is I think they just came out with this
yeah.
2000 at 1.2, two 40-volt batteries in it. And man, this thing hits pretty good. It's actually surprising.
I wonder
So,
if they're gonna come out with you know how they got those 80-volt battery packs for the ride-on lawnmowers.
oh yeah,
I
that'd
wonder
be
if they'll make a
interesting.
pressure washer with those. I'm sure they
You
will
know,
at some point, but
you know, the
Ryobi is like crazy with what they'll make.
the problem is that like I don't have the Ryobi battery system, and you only get about 20 minutes out of that when you're using it at the strength you need.
Yeah, and those
And so
batteries aren't cheap.
so I had to buy two packs with chargers, which was $1,000.
Jesus,
And
yeah.
then that was 500, and then the other one was
Well,
200.
let me let you in on not so secret Direct Tools outlet. They've got a
Yep.
website, so they're an factory outlet for Tektronic Industries, where most of their Ryobi stuff is
Ah,
made, as well as some rigid.
Milwaukee maybe in there too, I guess.
Sometimes they have Milwaukee on there, not as often.
So
But they have tons of Ryobi stuff. Like if you need
yeah,
batteries, because all the stuff they sell is factory reconditioned or blemished.
okay.
And if it's blemished, like it's completely fine. It's just something on it making it not ready for the storefront, so it's discounted. And
Hmm.
they always have sales going on and everything. Like that's the place if you want
Okay,
to
that's a
stock up
good
on
tip.
batteries,
I'll have to like look into that.
or
So
or Home Depot Ryobi Day sales whenever they have
here's
those.
what's crazy though. So it was taking me a while to wash this truck with the I was using mostly that Ryobi, and I've got it on. I ended up filling up a drum for the water because I was trying to go not connected. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So, anyways, I was filling up the 5 gallon pail I was using like 10 times, and I got sick of that. And then I washed up to here with that Ryobi, and I wasn't really happy with the results because there's still film on there. Can you see that? It's
yeah,
in there. It's
oh
not
yeah,
very good. I mean, it's all right, but it's not great. So then I used my real power washer right here, and it is just as bad. So that means that I think if you had the right situation, you could get away with using that thing.
yeah,
It
absolutely.
actually it works pretty good, but I think it's mostly built for people who maybe have a boat and want to just power wash it while they're at the lake on the
Yeah,
inside.
yeah, it's that
You know what
portability
I
thing,
mean?
or maybe
Yeah, I
you
think
live.
it's more for that.
Back when I lived in an apartment, that would have been great, but
Yeah.
didn't exist.
Yeah, I think that could make sense too in an apartment if you don't have access to a garden hose or, but you do use a good amount of water. I filled the 5 gallon pail 7 times on the passenger side or the driver's side of this thing. And I was
Jeez.
like, this is killing me.
Yeah,
So
I think
I had to go back to my normal one.
I used that the handheld one, 600 psi one time to wash an SUV indoors,
Okay.
and I filled up the 5 gallons as much as it would go, and I barely had any water left by the time I was done. And I was like wheels,
Wow.
tires, and the whole vehicle. So
Yeah, it's tricky. It's stressful when you don't have an infinite water supply, man. I'll tell you what. So this is my show. Well, it's not really showroom. I built it as a showroom, but it's more of like a place where we hang out and have meetings and eat lunch and stuff like that. We get some walk-ins here, so we have it kind of set up. But this is one of the power washers that I grew up on working. So my father was a distributor for a company called Chem-X, Chemex, and he was the New England distributor. And that company went out of business like in the early 90s, and we kept on going. We tied in with the chemist and all that. But this was, if you look at this here, this is what I grew up working on. And this one was actually given to me years ago by someone who bought two of these from my father because he was used to power washers dying, and then the first one he bought never died. So he still had this in the
nice.
box like 30 years later. So he gave it to
That's
me.
sick.
But there was a lot of like cramped space in here. I could go on for days about all the problems about trying to fit a wrench into that thing, and that's what I grew up
Yeah.
doing. So that's why all my power washers are open layout
Yeah,
because
I think that's
I
I personally I like the open layout. You can mount them wherever you want.
oh yeah,
When you maintenance it, like it's right there. You don't got to take the whole
yeah,
case apart.
that's the logic anyway, and that's why we have like screw couplings on the unloader and like just commonly needed things that. Now it's gonna get real dark. It's real dark in here right now, so be aware. So this is my office here. I don't know if let's see here. There we go. I used to do like streaming in here, but then I started just focusing on making videos more.
Okay.
But anyways, this is my setup here. This
You
is where
got
I
a
do
shout
the.
out from Audie Conrad up in Maine, dealing with the snow as well. So
Oh yeah, yeah. We got some serious snow here recently. So this is where I edit. That's my overly expensive MacBook, and you know, I edit here, but I also edit at home or just on the thing there. But it's hard to edit here actually. I mostly just do emails there and wait for things to interrupt me during my day here. So like editing is like I tell people it's like building a jigsaw puzzle. It's like you have to get into a certain flow state. You know what I mean? Like the pieces start coming together after 20 minutes or something like that.
yeah, dude. And I've had like the
So
last month or two, I've had just like creative burnout where I'm just staring at it. I'm just like, ugh.
yeah, I
You
went
know?
through that over the course of this winter myself. I went for a few months without posting any videos, and I was like, I finally got myself back into it. But
Yeah,
we do product
it comes and
photography
goes
in
in
here.
cycles, you know. So
Oh, it definitely does. Yeah. So one of my guys does product photography and then website design here, graphic design. So that's what's in this room. We have my controller. She does the accounting. She's up in the corner office there. And then we have an analytics guy around the corner there. But we're coming back here. This is the website where we fulfill stuff. And then all the blending tanks are actually through that roll up door there. So there's a whole nother unit right there that has the raw materials and the tanks and all that stuff. Here's where I keep my camera gear for the most part, but most of the guys come in back here. And then
hey,
all of
where was the Sawzall brush made?
the Sawzall brush will get over there right now. Let's see here. So this is our shipping station right here. So everything anyone orders comes in through here.
Nice.
We try and keep everything that's needed really close to this point because it's, you know,
So
a matter of
everything from
steps.
like blending to filling to fulfillment happens there.
Yeah, and then the Sawzall brush, you remember that? So
Yeah.
that's right here. So
that was a funny creation that turned out to be better than expected.
I think my light. Oh, there we go. There we go. So this is where we build our foaming injectors and kits and stuff. So they have like all the pipes and valves and fittings and tools.
And you're like a wizard at that table,
so,
man. You're just like you visualize it before it even exists, and you're like, you know, I could cut this off, put this here, and then like,
yeah,
boom.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
like when you did with the what is it, the foamer that you made like a stubby wand for? You're like, this is too long. I got to shorten this up, you know?
yeah, yeah. I just like to mess around, and so we have a lot of different parts and pieces for the power washers there. It's pretty dark in here. I probably should have turned on the lights. I've got, well, basically this is where we bottle back here. This is our labeler here. I'm just buying a fancy inductive cap sealer to add onto that, and an accumulator table.
Nice.
So we keep a lot of gallon jugs over here.
We're pretty just to let the
low
audience
on
know,
stuff.
when you order stuff from Chem-X, like, you know, not only is in this really nice bottle and everything, but everything comes like bagged, and then you heat seal the bags too, right?
Yeah, that's what this is. So
nothing's gonna leak all over everything else.
This is the vacuum sealer. So I feel really bad for any one of the guys who has to run it because it's very tedious. I mean, there's thousands of bottles to do, and
but you must have you must have saved yourself so much money on like returns and sending out new orders by having that.
We're gonna try and get
big companies that still they don't
one.
even do it, and like I'm like, how are you still like?
It's really it's not even just the cost of the damage or like refilling the order. It's just that experience that the customer gets. You know what I mean? When they've been waiting for the order. They may have like work lined up that they're looking to do with the product, and then they get it the day before, and it's a big soggy box.
Yeah,
and like there is nothing more disappointing than
delivered because of that.
And and that's the other thing is that we won't find out about that until that comes back to us. Sometimes UPS isn't going to be like, "Hey, just a heads up, this is in a corner in our warehouse somewhere."
Yeah, it's just somebody scanning. Like, no good.
3 weeks. 3 weeks goes by, and you get it back, and you're like. And then the customer reaches out like, "Hey, where's my stuff?" And that's a horrible thing to have like this. Yeah. If you want to keep people happy, you know, that's just
that's the good mindset. That's the right mindset to have, man. There are other companies that, you know, they think ahead with their packaging and everything, but then you got some big companies. Yeah. Adams is a prime example. Even Griot's Garage, they'll send you stuff. You know, there's no plug in the cap. It's not bagged up. There's nothing preventing this from, if this started leaking, it would destroy the whole shipment. And you see it online all the time. And like
It's a
it
real
happened to me
bummer.
with
Yeah.
Brios, and like I was bummed. I'm like, oh, now I gotta wait for it again. I mean, they resent it, which
Yeah.
was good of them, but I'm just like,
Right, but it's still a bummer. So you have the
yeah,
cost of everything that was in that box getting destroyed, and then like just the delay of it
dude, it
all, and
was a
the
wheel
hassle,
cleaner
and
that
the
leaked too. That was terrible. Imagine if it
yeah,
was like iron
that's
remover or
awful.
something. Ugh.
They have the smell and all that. Yeah. So the detailing cart gets a lot of questions. We haven't really gotten into this one yet.
Oh yeah,
People
the
have been
detailing
asking me to
cart.
talk about this thing for a long time, and I don't know why I haven't.
Before we get to
Because
the
it's
detailing cart, we had one more question come through from David.
oh
So he
yeah,
wants to know how you get so many different fascinating big rigs and really cool truck operators. Because as he's seen you do several lady operators, and their trucks were awesome, amazing.
thank you, David. That's cool. I appreciate that. And the way I get it is just I've been around this industry for a long time, and I've gotten to know a lot of people, going to truck shows, and at this point,
Bob's
there's a
just the
lot of
guy for
people.
chemicals now, you know.
Yeah. So like I've gotten to know a lot of people as friends, a lot of people who are just awesome to be around. And going to truck shows, you meet a lot of really, really cool people in the industry. So like I've been hitting those for I don't know, maybe 8 years or so, like just going to different truck shows around my area
And
or
that's the
like
way to get to know
out
people.
west.
It's like the perfect networking spot because
Yeah, it's good.
I get people that are starting out new businesses selling chemicals, right?
Yeah,
And they're just I tell them all, I'm like, this venture you're going on is only going to work out as well as you make it work. So if you're
yeah,
just sitting
yeah,
back expecting people to order from you, that's not going to happen. But then I know some people that are just like out at every possible event they can be at,
yeah.
socializing with people,
It's
and
great to do.
they
Yeah,
start to
it's
get
great to
steady
do.
orders in because people talk more and more. Like, hey, there's this really cool guy with this Jeep or this
Yep.
must, whatever. So
Yeah. And I was very lucky too to grow up in this industry and have like, I kind of inherited like a whole customer base from my father when I
that's
was a
nice.
teenager. And so like I got a head start of just getting to know a lot of different people. And, I was basically the wash bay guy for a long time. So I got to know a lot of really cool people.
That's great. Dad sounds
And
like
now
a
at this
really cool
point,
dude.
yeah, well, definitely. And it was nice to get that kind of a head start because, it just gave me a lot of, yeah, I don't always appreciate it probably. I don't stop to think about it, but having been around this for so long, like I just have some built-in impressions about things or how to do stuff or what's needed, and it's just really
But at the
easy for me
same
to think
time, you're
about
still
things
listening to
that,
your customers. So
yeah, and
that's
that's
always the thing
important
you got
too.
to do.
That's the main thing. And so yeah, that's how we line people up. But at this point, now that people see that we're doing it, it's I have an email address that people can reach out. It's just studio@chemx.com, and I just see what comes in there, and when people can line it up if they're in the area, we just coordinate and make it happen.
Hey,
Pretty
I mean,
much
no one's going to
everybody's
complain about a
cool.
free truck wash, right?
Yeah, and that's
Especially
another nice
not of
angle.
that caliber. Like, the
Yeah.
outside and the cab, awesome.
Yeah. I think that and I like that too because like I was saying when I grew up I was you get referred to another company and they would say come on over and show us how your stuff works. That's called a demo, right? So like
Right.
you're going there to just show them your product. There's no money involved. So you go there. I would set up, go drive 3 or 4 hours in one direction to get to the place, and we would wash some trucks. And either they would be into it, and they'd be like, "All right, well, let's get set up here, and we get a drum of this or drum of that or whatever." Or I get a T-shirt and a hat, and thank you for coming out. So like,
And
so
now
I've
you're
always
like,
done
the
this for
demo is
free.
here, and this is quite
Yeah,
the demo compared
this
to
is way better.
traveling.
Yeah,
So
this is nice, and
and they can
it's
see
just a
how
great
their
way to do
shop
it.
their bays can be set up too.
Yeah, definitely. That's basically just an example of what we do. So, that's that whole energy of doing it for free though. I love that because like was mentioned before, like if we didn't do like the roof or if we didn't do a good job on it or if we missed a spot somewhere or I didn't get underneath under the axle somewhere or something, like it's not really like any money is exchanged. It's all just good vibes where everybody's
Yeah.
just really, excited for the hookup. And my thought is too, like these guys here are a customer of mine locally. And I thought, in conjunction with what we do, it also helps them get their name out there. So they're all about it.
Hey, there you
And
go.
then they also get like a specific custom video for them to show to their wash bay guy.
It just
So
works for everybody, and it
there's a
doesn't
lot of
cost anybody
wins.
anything.
Yeah, it works out pretty good. So, you know, that's definitely been the best part of it, is doing it for free. And then I get to get their reaction when they come back in, which is always nice. I love it. I love to show people how their ride looks when we're done. You know, and I'll just spend, you know, Friday through Sunday just doing as much as I can, you know. And we miss a lot of spots.
Let's get into this cart, man. Show us the cart. People
Well, I
are
don't know
dying because we're over here having our sidebar, and they're like, show us the cart.
I don't even know what to say. I mean, I've just got like, I have a bunch of polishing stuff up here. This is my snake oil. That probably should go over here. I've got the scan grip lights. You know, I keep those in here. I keep buffing pads in here and polish compound. I've got a bunch of stickers now. I just put those on. I've got one of those surface thickness readers here, which I don't really know how to use.
Kimberly says that's no cart. That's a detailing carriage.
Yeah. You know, I should probably start with what this is. This is a shelf from Costco.
Nice.
And I didn't
looks
buy
kind of
it
like a
for
server
this.
rack, honestly.
Yeah, it probably could be. You know, I bought it and we used it for whatever for years. And then when I started working in here, I needed something. So I welded some casters on it. I welded some stainless threaded handles onto it. And I just put bins on it. You know, and I put hooks on it.
When you have welding skills, anything's possible.
Yeah, it's super handy. Yeah, so like,
you make whatever.
Yeah, like when I hung the zip lines, like I was able to make some custom brackets to like connect into the beam there. You know, I wish I could show you the structure behind that corner to make that invisible. There's like a lot of, there's like a suspension bridge design behind the wall over there. Yeah, so like, you know, being able to weld goes a long way. And you don't have to be good at it. You just have to just start doing it, you know.
Exactly.
So anyways, I keep everything on here, odds and ends here, different things I want to play with, rags, my soaps. I have some scrubbers here, deep glass rags, microfibers, mitts, you know, things like the barrel blade and stuff.
Those Flairosol bottles.
What, these things here?
Yeah.
These I just have water in.
No,
so like if I had some soap in my eyes or something, I could like.
It's just like, oh man, it's hot.
I have polishing stuff in there. Just a bunch of stuff, you know, a couple of IK sprayers to keep my 4.0 valve there from Veloci. That's nice for the foam cannons. And then I have around the back, I have my foam Pro 12s. I got a bunch of pack out bins full of.
Was that the auto fiber drying towel, the giant one?
Yeah, this is the big one. This is
like
the 4x6
specifically for like you to sell.
I don't know. I don't think they made it for big rigs because I've been trying it and it is not good. You can't.
It's kind of unwieldy.
That big. No, it's too big.
I just imagine if you have just like
the ground.
A big flat top bus and you just drag it across the whole top of the bus.
Just I mean, it's fun.
Hold it behind you.
It's a lot of fun. I'm gonna get a chain for it so I can wear it as a cape.
There you go.
So this is I keep turbo nozzles I keep here. These are the lights that I put on my wands. These are those little wheel sliders that keep the hose from grabbing on wheels.
Oh yeah, these things are awesome.
Clay bar stuff, and then just blowers, big light buffing thing, which I'm not very good at, but this has been pretty good to me.
Hey, you know, we all started somewhere with polishers. Nobody was good their first few times, and then you're doing the wheel polishing too.
This is for the aluminum, work. Yeah, it's like coal miner stuff, you know. So like that's I'm gonna get more into that just because, like, if you look at this truck here, it's kind of like the aluminum needs some help. We're designing an aluminum polish right now. It's like more of a hand application style.
Okay.
But like it's not going to do much. Like if you look at like a lot of the stuff on here, I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
But these are all like pitted, and that's where you would bust out a cutting wheel. And I don't know. I guess I should, man. It doesn't look very acceptable until I do something with that. So
yeah, the hand polishes they're good for like it's just tarnished, but it's still like clear.
Yeah.
Just brings some shine back.
So, and then that's the steamer. People ask about what steamer I use. That's a Chief steamer. Yeah, the 155. It's like $2,500, but it is
those are pretty popular in detailing shops.
I love those. That's been so much fun to use that thing. This is my A camera here, since you would like the cameras, but this is a 12 by 24 G Master lens. So this gets a nice wide angle like a GoPro, but without the fisheye. So it makes the room look a little bigger than it is actually.
Yeah, I'm waiting until like, you know, my channel's grown enough that I can just hire a camera guy and be like, what cameras do we need? Can
Yeah.
you do all the recording and editing? Because I've got like a fifth grader level at this. Like
Well, you can
I'm just good because you know, I know things, which helps.
yeah,
But
for sure.
like when I try to like make a cinematic video, I'm just like, dude, like you know, some of these other channels, I'm like, oh, these guys are killing me. Like they're just, it's so
Nah, just give me a
professional
call.
looking and beautiful, you know. But
I'll tell you everything you need to know, man. That's not a big deal at all. I'd
yeah,
love to help
and
out.
it's not having the equipment. It's just like having the eye for it, you know.
It's a thing you just acquire over time. You can go back
Yeah.
on my YouTube channel and check out the quality of those videos, man. Go way back.
I mean, I
You
look
know,
back on my own, and I've improved over time, definitely. Like,
yeah,
I didn't start
100%.
editing video. Like, I didn't actually start editing at a PC and stitching things together in VoiceOver till last year. Before
Oh
that, I was
wow.
just like a one and done, shot from the phone and uploaded. Like now, I actually throw it on the computer and enhance things and yada
Oh, that's
yada. So
perfect. Yeah. How long you been
quality's been
doing your
improving,
YouTube?
you know. But
How long has your YouTube channel been going?
I started it a really long time ago. I think when I was in the army, because I uploaded a couple tank videos. So there's
Oh,
a
really?
video of an M1 Abrams starting up that I recorded. That's like still my most popular video. It's like almost 1 million views. People
Oh,
have been
wow.
watching it for like the last decade.
That's cool, man. That's really
But I
cool.
didn't really start like getting serious about making videos, I'd say, until like 3 years ago was when I really like, all right, let's really start doing this. So
Yeah. Well, it's cool, man. You're doing a good job. Keep it up. You know, it's a
thanks.
grind doing the YouTube thing. You just got to keep going.
It is.
You
It
know,
really is. And
try
you
not
know,
to pay too much attention to that 1 out of 10 score they give you on the YouTube Studio. That one's that can be
I
depressing.
don't even pay attention. The only things I pay attention in YouTube Studio is like comments, videos, and then how's the revenue looking? Like, are we going to be able to keep
Yeah.
doing this? Because I'm looking,
Yeah.
I'm like, can I quit my job yet? Can I? You know, so,
Oh yeah. And that's tricky because that can change all the time, and
oh,
you never know what
video can
could
get demonetized
impact
like
that.
that. You know, like
I feel like it's pretty hard for channels like ours to get demonetized though. Like, but they
yeah,
could change the rates, the rate of how much you get. You remember that adpocalypse
yeah,
time period on
detailing
YouTube and all that.
and things centered around that. It's pretty safe topic as
Yeah. Oh
for
yeah, for sure.
advertisers. So
I'm fortunate that I don't depend on the YouTube revenue. It's just kind of like a cool bonus because it's like completely there's no cost to fulfill any of that. You know, they just
yeah.
give you like the whatever it is for how many views you
So
got on
yeah, you
each
get the
thing, how
passive
long
income
people
after a
were there.
while, and you're like, yeah, that's nice, you know.
Well, I just kept throwing it at the cameras and so that's why I have really nice cameras because I've
Yeah.
just taken the YouTube money and just I bought the dome light over there a while back to get like my
Oh yeah,
lighting
I've
better
been
and
doing
then
that myself. Like, you know, I've
yeah.
got a better tripod. I got a microphone for when I record
Yep.
outside. I got this microphone to record inside, you know. So
For sure. And then, I built this just because I love cameras. I think it's like a hobby for me, but this is my B camera. So this thing is a monster, man. This is a
yeah.
workhorse.
How much does that thing weigh?
A lot. I'm working out right now. This is heavy. It's the
You're
kind of
like,
thing
yeah,
you hold
when
in
I'm
3
not at
points.
home and I need to lift some weights, I
Yeah.
just grab the B camera and do some
No,
reps.
but this thing is the 24 to 70 millimeter range. And I have a V-mount battery on there and everything's powered. So including the external hard drive, this is a monitor and recorder. So this has a 2 terabyte hard drive in it. And then the V-mount battery can run for 3 or 4 hours. And I can have 3 channels of audio in there separated. So like that's really, really handy to throw it on a tripod and get a good shot from a distance and record like 2 lav mics while also recording ambient sound. And then that's just a backup. And then I use a Ronin for the A camera. So I'll snap that on here. And I just use the same mounting plates for everything, all the tripods.
Yeah, I
And
haven't tried one of
all
those
the
things
cameras.
yet. They always look so
Those
cool.
are really useful.
Like,
They're pretty
yeah.
cool. And then what I would recommend if you're going to get into it is I grabbed one of these, the Pocket 3, DJI Pocket 3. And it's pretty nice because it comes with the wireless lav mic and it's just
Oh,
really,
nice.
really,
Yeah, dude, I gotta check those out because
it's good.
next month I'm gonna be going to Import Alliance in Fort Worth, and I
Yeah.
plan on vlogging that. So I got a couple companies that said, "Hey, I'll send you a box of products to hand out just to help with your content."
Yeah.
So I'm
100%.
gonna be vlogging that, giving the stuff out.
Yeah.
I got the idea from you, like straight ripped off from what you do at car shows. I'm like, Bob's going around handing out detail sprays. That doesn't seem like a bad idea. I just don't
It's a
have
good way to
the
do it.
company myself to get the product. So I just asked a few,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Yeah, dude, I'll send you a box of stuff." I'm like, "Awesome," you know. So
That's
have some
cool,
stuff to
man.
hand out.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend that DJI though, because it's got a built-in gimbal, it's got a 1-inch sensor, and it just takes really nice shots, and it's not very
Yeah,
expensive, you know. So
cool,
if you wanted to do anything more with cameras, I would just say that's plenty. I only
awesome.
got all those cameras because I like them. You know, you could, like Mike says, information is, and that's so true. You know, because that's the main thing.
Yeah.
It's all about the information and a story. You know, if I try and put together a story in my videos more,
Well, what I
and
like is
you can film
you
that with a
explain your
phone. You know.
products. You know, like you're not just saying like this is my new product and it's the best thing ever, like so many people do. You're just like, this is my new product. This is why I made the product. This is how it works. You know, like
Yeah, and we're hoping to do good there. I mean, I've been a little bit in a bubble for a long time. I've always only used my own stuff, and so I haven't had extensive experience using other things, like whether it be Purple Power
I,
or like
dude, I do know a
Super Clean
company
or
that
something. Or
is regularly buying any product that comes out that is in range with their products because they want to. They have a goal to stay at like the competing at the top. So they're always
Mhm.
seeing like what's new, and they're like,
Yeah,
okay, let's back to the drawing board. Let's see how can we improve this.
yeah, and I
It's a
think
pretty
that's a
cool
good.
thing to
I
do,
think it's a good
and they're
idea.
not bashing the products either. They're just like, hey,
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
actually really good, and I don't know what they do. I
yeah.
can't keep up with that, but it's awesome.
Yeah, I've been doing that recently a little bit, and I try and keep people like brands names out of it, just because like I want to just say whatever I think about whatever it is, and not be bashing anybody
Yeah,
specifically,
well, that's a
or
smart thing to
or I
do
want
when you
to,
got your own
or
brand too, so you don't get a
and
legal
I
letter
usually
sent to
come
you.
in, yeah, and I don't normally come in first place necessarily either. Like I'm investigating how to improve my interior cleaner. I know that I could make it better, that I would, I could make some changes to it that I would like. And so, I'm just looking into what's out there and trying different things. I landed on, I think, Kosh Chemi Polestar or G Technic TriClean were like two of my favorites, way over my own, and
Okay.
in the comments, people are like, "What was that?" And I'll like send them a link, like in the comments. But
Yeah, I
and
know
I
where you're at
guess I
with
wouldn't
that.
mind. I guess I don't mind saying which ones are what if they're awesome. You know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
yeah, if you're saying good,
So
what with your brand, this applies to any brand because I like that you have a full range of products for everything you need because sure, maybe you can get the best of this is from Chem-X, the best of this is from Coach Chemi or whatever, but nobody wants to order from different sites. So it's like,
yeah,
hey, while I'm
yeah.
ordering Stars and Stripes, I could use an interior detailer. That's how I ended up with this.
Okay, cool.
And I was gonna
Yeah,
really because it was green tea scented, and that's like one of my favorite things to smell. So I was like,
that's
oh, let
cool.
me get a
I'm
bottle
glad
of
you
it.
like it.
Let me just throw it
It
in with the order. Might as well.
it's been it's been popular. The only drawback with that one that I don't like is that it has some protection in it, like a sheen to it, and it just the oils that are in there, if they're on your door panel and it rains, it'll run. It'll look like runny, and then you have to like put it on and wipe it again. And I just
That's a
hate that.
common thing with detailing products in general. So it's not just
Yeah,
you.
but I
Anything
want to
that's
get
got
around
that
that.
water based
Yeah,
protection on there just kind of does that. But
yeah. I just want to get like a nice clean matte finish. Like I was using some of Larry Casilla's stuff. I think it's
no, he's been doing
lather.
it for a while. Jeez.
Man, it's so good. I don't know I have no idea how he
Dude, I
like.
used to
There's
watch
something
Larry
about
when
it.
I was like 19 years old, like before
Oh,
he
really?
had his shop or anything, like when he was still
Yeah.
just a mobile detailer.
I remember him in his house garage before he built the studio
Yeah.
there. And
Well, I think he was in it. He was part in his house and mobile detailing. Then he was like mostly in his house, and then he built that.
yeah,
Well, I won't say he built that.
yeah,
He took a house and turned it into a studio.
yeah. It's pretty
Let's
cool,
just
man.
cut the
He's
wall out, put
actually
a bay door in there. I thought that was a great
I
idea.
I would love to somehow collaborate with him someday because I watch
He's
his
not too
channel
far
all
away
the
from
time.
you either. So
No, he's just like an hour from me,
yeah,
and I used to
I
work
don't
in
know
the
what he's
town.
doing. I'm sure he's involved in a
I
lot of things at this point, but
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's busy, but like I used to take care of so many companies in his town there. I mean, man, I've been all over that town,
maybe
and
if you
it's
ever
so
come across
close.
a vintage truck that really needs some love, like, that might
Yeah,
pique his interest there.
yeah, reach out. Or I was thinking if he had something that was too big for his place, like if there was a
Oh,
fire
yeah, there you
truck or an
go.
airplane or something weird, like we're not far away. It
Yeah,
would be
that's
cool.
pretty
Maybe down
nice.
the road. It'd be
It's
nice to
it's
cross
really nice
paths.
collaborating with people with other creators in your niche.
Yeah.
There's a guy watching right now. You see details, Eddie Cologne. Eddie's been like one of the coolest dudes I've met, and he's like the rinseless wash master on his channel. Like if a rinseless wash gets released, he's going to test it and he's going to judge it.
Nice.
But it's been really cool to go back and forth with him. We banter each other in a friendly way, which is great. And he's got a sense of humor. So, but I just think it's great when everyone can kind of connect within an industry, because there's some other channels, like you try to reach out to them and you're this size, but they're this size, and they're just like,
oh yeah,
I
get the same thing too. I mean, I think that there's I'm working on building mine up as hard as I can, but it takes a long time, and you know what that struggle is too. It just takes forever, and
takes a while.
I think once, even if you get up to like I probably have, I guess I do have more followers than some, like, companies at least, but it still probably would be hard to connect.
Yeah.
Even if you
I think
more,
you're on a good path, because your products or your videos are informative, but they're also incredibly entertaining to somebody who may not know the first thing about washing a truck, but they're just like, this looks awesome. And those are the channels I see that like get huge. Channels that are more just like strictly informational, they tend not to get so big, but then they tend to start working with more companies that like, hey, I want your brain, like, or I want how you like,
I think from a company's perspective, I wouldn't think I'm brand safe. I think I'm probably, because the entertainment value is too high.
Safe,
what I mean?
Rio's Garage recently told me they are not interested in having me as a brand ambassador when I put in an application for it.
Oh no!
And
I mean,
it's
why
probably
not?
because
Well, you're very professional.
I am, but their car wash pods, I did not like them.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I don't like these. And I know, like, when you try to post a video review on their site, if it's not positive about the product or it mentions another brand, they don't allow it. So
I mean, I think that's a mistake on any brand's part.
I mean, everyone's got their image that they choose to go with. So
I mean,
some brands are like, hey, by all means, show us against other people. Some brands are just like, we don't want to associate with anything but our own stuff, So
I mean, I guess, but I feel like that's a much less interesting road,
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why
some
don't have that many, big of a community.
Yeah,
they got consumers, but they don't have a community. And I think personally, building any type of brand, a YouTube channel, a car care brand, a truck care brand, whatever it may be, having that community of people that you interact with is what's going to keep you going in the long run.
I think so too, and that's always been my mindset, is just kind of doing it for the long haul more. I've just been doing it so long. I'm always trying to think way down the road, and just just try and figure out ways to help people. That's really any company. That's the real first goal, is just find the best way that you are able to help people.
You just gotta you gotta enjoy what you're doing. It shouldn't feel like work.
Yeah.
And that's when you keep it going for a long, because if it feels like work, you're not gonna want to do it. So.
I'm very fortunate, because I retired about 4 years ago. That's what I think. Nice. But I work more. Well, I technically work while I'm awake, I guess, now. But I'm having fun. I'm here. What is it? Saturday night? Like 8:30. But I'm not working.
You're not the truck cleaning company that's on a time crunch. Like, we got to get this done this time. They're just like, hey,
and that's
you've got it all week. Do whatever.
And that's
like, cool.
That's one of the reasons I don't charge for these for this work. Also, so I don't want to feel like I'm doing it under some timeline or need for a certain level of result.
Yeah, because it's easy to get burned out really that way. It happens with detailers all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure, and so that's one of the reasons I don't call myself a detailer, is because I've never charged for it, which I don't know if that's a valid logic there, I guess. But I in my mind, a detailer is someone who actually does it for a living and makes a living doing it all the time. Yeah. I'm in here occasionally. I'm usually putting out fires and trying to develop new ideas and make things happen and fix broken things, and like all day long, there's a lot of things to do here. And I only clean things, once every weekend or couple of weeks.
Well, in the detailing world, we have it broken up into different types of detailers. So first and foremost, if you enjoy cleaning your vehicle and paying attention to every last little detail of it, you're considered a detailer. Now we've got, people that are new, novice detailers. You got people that only do it on the weekends for their own one vehicle, usually called, weekend warrior type deal. You got people that are taking care of their entire family or something, or they're just super into it, super into cars. It's an enthusiast detailer. Then you got the people doing it for work as a profession, so it can be considered a professional. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'd
Well,
say you definitely
maybe I
fall
could
in
be.
there because you're
I'm in
you're
there
not
somewhere,
just like
maybe.
there's some other channels that are entertaining because they're washing trucks all day, but
Hmm.
they're just kind of blasting them off real quick and then sending them out their way. I wouldn't call that detailing, but when you're sitting in there getting the rim clean,
Yeah, I
polishing it,
guess it's true.
getting everything you can think of. Like I've
Yeah.
seen you like cleaning off the fifth wheel, getting all the grease off that. Like
Those are details, I guess.
yeah,
I guess like maybe it's more of, maybe I'm a detailer, but not a, maybe I can draw the line at professional detail. I don't even know if, I don't know. I like to come at it from not a, I don't know. I don't like the idea of going into something and
yeah, I
saying,
get
"Oh,
you.
I'm a professional" or
It,
whatever. I don't really want that.
the ego aspect of it's just it's not for you,
Yeah,
and
I
I
don't. That's not
totally
for
get
me.
that.
Yeah.
Because dude, you should see
That's it.
some of these detailing groups. There's some groups I refuse to be a part of because it's just so egocentric, and I'm like, dude, at the end of the day, we're all just washing and polishing cars. Okay, like everyone needs to
Yeah, it's
chill
not a
out.
big deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do make these things look beautiful, yes, but everyone needs to calm down. Like,
Yeah,
we're
it's
not
not a big deal.
we're not, traveling to Mars and ensuring the future, of
Yeah,
humanity. Like we're just
lives are
making
not at
people's cars
stake.
look nice.
Yeah, yeah.
No reason to
no
be
need to
arguing
stress.
over, why if this person might like chemical guys, like,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
they just learned about it and they saw it at the store. Like, just calm down. Everybody just
It's
calm down.
funny. I've noticed way early on, because like my customer base has always been trucking and construction guys, right? And they all have to clean their own trucks,
Right.
but none of them consider themselves to be detailers. They're not. They're truck drivers, right? But they take pride in their trucks, so they're technically detailing. But on the internet, like when I first started posting, I think a lot of detailers thought I was speaking to them. And I noticed how much opinion there was and how much thought there was about the right way to do it. And you're doing this way or whatever. And I think part of the success of my channel has been leaning into that a little bit and doing things that detailers specifically will have opinions about, like just for fun, just to get
Yeah.
people
As,
going.
as long
And
as you got the right, your head's in the right place about it.
yeah,
Because I've seen people shoot themselves in the foot over having a big ego, and
oh, for sure. Yeah,
you see
yeah,
they either kind of they step back and they're like, well, or they just double down on the ego and like that's just who they are,
yeah,
and
yeah.
people just avoid them. But then it's weird, they also create like a cult of followers at the same
Mm.
time.
Well, it's
It's
important to be yourself,
That's
whatever
the
you
weirdest thing,
are.
but hey, more
Yeah.
power to them.
I think whatever you are and whoever you are, if you're that, that's what you should do, right?
Hey,
When it
yeah,
comes to YouTube and all that,
as
you know
long
what
as
I
you're
mean?
doing what you love and no one's
Yeah.
being hurt. I always got to
There
throw
you
that
go. I'm
in
not a
there.
detailer. I'm a brand. That's probably true. I actually think of myself as like a product engineer. You know what I mean? Like I'm
Yeah.
trying to
Well, you're kind
build
of like
solutions.
it's your brand, but you're also the face of the brand,
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah. And I think that's good. I
people
think,
associate the brand with you and vice versa. So I don't know,
yeah,
and brand ambassador would be the right term. I mean, because you own
maybe.
the
I mean,
company too. So
yeah. I guess I don't know. I think that I like the idea of doing it myself because um, I know that I'll always be able to do that. You know what I mean? Like if you have, different people be the face of your company, like eventually they'll probably want to switch careers or something, and then you have like
and that's
this
happened. I've
change
seen it.
where, you know what I mean? Like it just seems like I want to maintain consistency,
Yeah,
and I also think it's unique. I don't see a lot of actual brand owners doing their own thing. There are tons of them. I don't see a lot of them on the big names. You don't see a ton of
yeah,
that.
because
I
you
couldn't tell you
you've
what a lot
you've
of the
built the
owners look like.
company, but you also like maintain its integrity where it's
Yeah,
the marketing company, as I like to say, they hire someone to be the face of the company, but like this person usually doesn't know anything other than like, here, read this script about,
yeah,
quadrophene or whatever the hell,
yeah,
new
yeah.
marketing term crap we're trying to come up with to get people to buy this. So
And I think one other thing that has kept this going in a good direction is just not having scripts. Like I go into it without a plan at all.
oh yeah, dude,
I
like
just,
me, I don't
you
even
know,
do multiple takes for my videos.
No, it's better that way.
Yeah,
And if
I'm
I do
not knocking
multiple,
people that do. Some people, that's their process. I've got no problem with that.
yeah.
I just go into a video, and if I start tripping up on my words or looking stupid, I just laugh at myself and move on.
I think that is it's more important to be that way than to get it perfect. And as I've gotten used to doing the camera thing, it's always first take at this point. And if I do two takes, it's because I thought maybe I'd like to add something else.
Everything can be fixed in editing, right?
And that takes the pressure off. But like when I'm editing, I find that I actually end up working with the first one anyway, just because if there is a hiccup or if I drop something or whatever, it's just like, it's fine. That's human. It's good. It's relatable.
It makes you seem like a person and not just like some spokesman trying to push something for profit.
Yeah, and that's not what I would like. I remember, as an owner of this thing, like the amount of salespeople that I've gotten in over the years, I hate being sold to. I don't know what it is about it. I don't want to be sold anything. I'm
Dude,
so good.
It's it's in every industry, because working in IT, so I work for a larger IT company that's all across the country. It's just got branches out different places, right? And whenever you have an email with an IT domain, you just get solicited all this crap to you. But I'm just they're emailing the wrong person, because I can't make any of these decisions.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I don't care to see it. I mean, even you have a website, obviously. When you first created your website with Squarespace, how many people were emailing you about SEO?
Oh,
they probably still do.
Much more so even now. It's just that, that all kind of just goes into like,
but it's, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just, these don't feel like people that genuinely care about making my site come up in the search results. They're just looking for their check.
Oh yeah, 100%. And that applies there. In the business world, you get a lot of cold calls and things like that. And it's you're always in the middle of something. You got stuff you need to do. And I was in that position for a long time where I had no way to get new customers unless they were referred to me. And I usually just hung around at that. I tried the cold call route, a bunch of different times.
Sometimes
and it's just
but
I don't know. Sometimes it work out, but like,
well, I will say, dude, like in the era of YouTube, like it's one of the greatest marketing tools that doesn't cost you anything.
No, it's 100%.
That you can kind of get more personal with people, because you get to put what you want on there. You don't have to pay anything to put it up. And now, granted, I don't use TikTok, but I know TikTok's another one because it has more of a reach. Like
it has a lot
TikTok's
of reach,
algorithm gives you a better reach than YouTube does. So
used to be. I don't know. They've changed it recently. As they've gotten into the shop platform, it's changed things quite a bit to where it's a little more incentivized by pushing ad money and stuff like that. And I still basically refuse to do paid ads because, like, I don't know. It just feels like that same sales approach thing,
Yeah.
I used to get a lot more virality over there though, and it was as simple as just making a video that held attention. And at this point,
videos definitely do that. Not too many people are able to put out 30-minute plus videos and get people to watch for the entire time.
On YouTube it works good. On Instagram, their numbers are coming up. I'm not sure where TikTok's headed. We'll see if they're. I mean, I like TikTok. I've enjoyed
might be headed out the window. Who knows?
Seems like it could be. I would love it to keep it around because I have the biggest following there technically. But it doesn't really mean anything because it's all the For You page, and each piece of content performs on its own. So it's not going to show any of your content to the followers. It's just kind of a vanity metric.
Yeah,
on YouTube,
TikTok's kind of like they just flip through. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. Whereas YouTube, it's like I can follow the creator, stay up to date on their latest stuff, things like that.
Yeah, it's definitely YouTube is definitely the best platform. It took me a long time to get it going, but once. Thankfully, due to TikTok's influence, they did the Shorts program and got that going, and that really is what helped us launch. Because
Instagram and Facebook, or not Instagram, sorry, YouTube and Facebook, which is extended to Instagram, have been influenced by other companies. I'd say ever since, like, you remember Vine?
Yeah.
So Vine was like the first website doing short form video, or the first app doing short form videos. It was 7 seconds long.
Yeah.
And so what happened? Instagram started doing 14-second short form videos. Like they beefed up their servers to handle that at the time, and that spelled the end of Vine. I think YouTube and Instagram are a little bit too late to the game by the time TikTok really was big.
Yeah.
So if they would have done their short videos earlier, they might have been able to take some of that. But
I think that I've had some really good exposure with shorts though, and reels. Reels, if you allow them to share to Facebook, go pretty far for some reason. And I think it's because maybe there's less attention on that from people actually creating content.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
I've
Maybe it's just
noticed
easier to get more exposure.
Facebook Reels is really targeted at what type of stuff is this person interacting with on the site. We're going to target those
Mhm.
reels at them.
Yeah,
Whereas shorts on YouTube, like it kind of sticks with it, but at the same time, like it throws it out there, and I think it just depends on the how much engagement it gets, like in that first hour. Because I've
yeah,
had shorts that just like completely died and flat on their face. I've had others that did great,
yeah.
So
It's hard to predict. All you can really do is really just focus on those first 1 to 2 seconds and making sure that it's going right into it and and carrying it from there.
yeah,
That's the hook. And if you can dial in those first few frames, you just visualize like when you're editing it, when you're scrolling your phone, you have about this much time to get someone's interest, or about that much time.
yeah. And
And
same with
that's
the
pretty quick.
thumbnails. You
It's got
got
to
to
be
make
the
that
first.
thumbnail. It's going to catch their eye. And ooh, what's this?
Yeah, yeah. The thumbnail is
But
important.
without making clickbait.
Yeah,
Because if
yeah.
you're
It's
making
it's hard.
clickbait
It's a
and it's
fine
not
line.
what your video's about, then
A lot of the time, you can avoid clickbait just by starting the video with the frame of the thumbnail. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So like
And
if you
like
pick a
a
good
lot of
first
my
scene,
yeah.
that's a good way to do it. I don't often get accused of clickbait. I don't, probably could count on one
I
hand.
mean, you're doing
But
exactly what's in your thumbnail in the video. So
yeah, I try to make it really accurate.
like I
One
mean,
thing that
foam always looks like it's clickbait, but the foam's still in the video. So
yeah. It's but that first scene, one thing I'll do is I'll take my favorite moments from the video and put them all at the front with the best scene right there, so that the thumbnail can kind of pay off right away,
yeah.
and then you just build it from there.
Dude, I got to
There's a
start
lot of
doing that.
ways
I've
to
been
do it.
meaning to try that. I just haven't given it a shot yet. But
I use Canva to build my thumbnails. It's pretty simple, nice, easy software. You might have a better way of going about making thumbnails than I do. I don't
no,
know.
my thumbnails, I just I use them on my phone. I take a screenshot from
Yeah,
the video, 16 by
yeah,
9. There are stickers
yeah.
on it. I mean, Canva is basically doing the same thing. It's just a different
Yeah,
platform. So
it's just a simplified version of like
yeah,
Illustrator or
I
something,
use
like
Canva to get my that last 15-20 seconds of video where it says subscribe, and it's
oh
just
yeah.
so that way it
Oh,
can just
that's a
play
good
out.
idea. I've never used
Um,
it for the ending. I always just make thumbnails with it. But
yeah, yeah, they got
there's some
a
cool
lot of
stuff
good
out there.
ending templates on there, so pretty
I
cool.
didn't know that. All right, cool. I was wondering where people get those from. I still haven't
Yeah,
looked into
yeah.
that.
And now with
All right,
with
sweet.
AI generators, like you can even get
Yeah,
kind of fancy with it.
that's really cool, man.
But
Dude,
anyways, I guess no one's asked a question in a while. Let me ask one. Are there
yeah.
any few products that you're working on that will be
Ah,
coming out this year?
yeah. So we figured out a way to evaporate the stars and stripes formulas and turn them into powder. So, and that's interesting because the
Talking like
the
pods
pr-
or
well, not pods, but so the process of evaporating the formulas refines them, and that was one angle I didn't think of. I was just thinking of packaging, but it actually makes the foam a lot better, and it might make the cleaning results better. I have to look into that a little more still, but I'm looking to release that midsummer. I think we're pretty close to finalizing it.
midsummer. So is it
Um,
are you or at the stage you're at right now? Are you planning on putting them in pods or just little packets, or what?
no,
How's it going to
so
come?
the goal is to streamline measuring, and uh, almost all of my customers, I think, would benefit most from being able to shock a 5-gallon pail full of material to fill a foam cannon with without measuring. So my goal is to have a 16-ounce jar that has a shoulder that's bigger than the 5-gallon pail opening, but a neck that's smaller. And so you fill the pail with the water all the way, dump in the jar, and shake it. It takes about 20 minutes to self-dissolve. And the stars side takes a hair longer than stripes because stripes actually has a heating up reaction, so it gets pretty warm, and that
Okay,
goes in quicker.
that's
But
interesting.
the idea is that we would provide the 5-gallon pails, which we do this now but with the liquids, and so
Starter
people can
kit
put.
type deal.
Yeah, so you keep the pails, they're labeled, they have spigots on them. All you have to do would be add the water, dump in the powder, and
Nice.
then give it a
Because yeah,
shake and let it
I
dissolve.
noticed that you pulled the 5-gallon ready to use off the site a while
Yeah,
ago.
well, we have like, so the Stars and Stripes formula is what's considered limited quantity. So we can't ship those in 5-gallon pails in the super concentrated form. And if it was the ready-to-use form, then it wouldn't be cost-effective with the shipping and all of that.
And you had that for a while, but then I noticed it was gone. That explains why it's not there anymore.
It's better to have as concentrated a solution you can, and then have the customer add the water there. Everyone has water. There's
have you
different levels
ever
of quality,
heard of 3D nano pails?
No.
So 3D has a line of their products, because they got their regular product line and they got their nano pail product line, which is like super concentrates. So it comes in a 32-ounce bottle, and the 32-ounce bottle is equivalent to having 5 gallons of the normal concentrate.
Okay.
So you're talking like when you pump the soap into a 5-gallon bucket, you need like a half an ounce, and you get a bunch of soap and 5 gallons of water. So they just really concentrated it down.
That's cool. I think that's smart. Anything you can do to make it
smaller, less weight, easier shipping. And now I know a lot of companies are doing pods. That's something I've been doing on my channel, is a series on all the different pods I can find. So the first one I did was NASCAR branded. I don't know who makes it, but it's just little dissolvable pods with the liquid in it.
Yeah, really like cool. For your dishwasher or something like that.
Exactly. That's literally nice. Just like that, or like Tide Pods people kept.
And so that would go straight into a foam cannon or something like that?
Yeah, straight into a foam cannon or bucket, dissolve it in the water.
That's nice,
then Griot's Garage came out with theirs. My problem with theirs was that just the concentrations were terrible, so it turned out to be a lot more expensive than it needed to be, and then the soap wasn't that great. And now recently, Armor All, they did a spin on it. Armor All came out with pods, but it's powder inside of it instead of liquid.
Okay. Interesting.
But I just tested it out today and shot a video, and very impressed. The foam was insane. The cleaning was really good. Because I filled up the whole foam can and put it in there, let it a little bit harder to dissolve because of the powder, but you leave it for a little bit, it'll all dissolve. And once the foam shot out of there, I was like, whoa,
That's interesting. Yeah, I guess my logic with the full pail being ready to then fill a foam cannon with is that you can dissolve it in and wait for that process to happen one time. And then when you wash a big rig or a crane or something, you're going to be refilling maybe 2, 3, 4 times.
Yeah.
And so it's important to streamline that as much as you can so people aren't wasting time.
That's good for product stability too, so it's not sitting in your warehouse, right?
Yeah, and it's better. Well, for shipping especially, it's like if you think about the difference in shipping a gallon of if you have a gallon that can be shrunk into 16 ounces as a pure form, then
that's big for a lot of people too. Like when they're like, well, they can really get the shipping down. I think Image Wash Solutions, I bought them. I have no idea what I did with them. Still looking for them. They came out with car wash sheets. Not a new idea. There was like 2 other companies I saw on Amazon that have car wash sheets. But Image's sheets, similar concept. I wish I knew where they were. But their whole thing was like, hey, if you like our platinum wash soap, then you're that's what the car wash sheets are. But the shipping is a lot cheaper. Storage is a lot easier. Transportation, all that stuff.
It's a great idea. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that I like. Is like the idea of just making things as streamlined as you can and trying to figure that out.
So Stars and Stripes coming in a powder like that you can have a pre-mixed like 5 gallons of formula ready to use.
It should be a home run. I think
pretty
people
good.
Will like it. It's
a
great way
now you
to
don't
be
have to
like
pay $100 to ship it either, So.
Right. The shipping is the real killer. We spend $5,000 to $10,000 a week on shipping. So it's very, very important to try and figure out ways around that and then be able to forward that on. So I think that it's strange because you would think the powder would be cheaper, but it's actually more expensive to make because it's an extra process of manufacturing. But it will save money because the shipping is such a big expense that we can take it out there. So I think we'll be able to really make it good.
The shipping industry has driven the chemical industry to this because 10 years ago nobody ever would have thought of doing that because it's too expensive to do. It doesn't cost that much to ship. Right. Now it's it costs so much to ship that this is now more cost effective to do and then sell it that way.
There's certainly incentive there and just eliminating leaks entirely. I believe the packing group is going to shape up so that we can ship it internationally too.
Nice.
So because if it's not liquid, it can.
Have you started shipping to Canada yet?
Canada, yes, but we have a problem where there's a flat rate service fee to process the paperwork to get it over the border, and it ends up doubling the price of, if you get like a gallon, it ends up double the price because of the flat rates. It's not just the tariffs, it's the flat rate processing.
I think the Canadians are like just used to that, but they know what to expect.
They are, but I feel bad for them, right? So I don't want to have that dynamic. We found
so close. You just tell them to come, be like, hey, just come visit me and pick stuff up from the shop. You know, you're not that far away.
We found a guy up there in Winnipeg, actually. He's right in the middle, and he's right over the top of North Dakota. And we're able to, we set him up as a distributor, he has his own website. He does his own content. It's Large Car Auto Spa, large car truck spa. I'm thinking of your name and his cross. largecartruckspa.com is his website address. And he had built a real nice site. We set it up with him. He's a great guy to deal with. He makes great videos, and he's very prompt, and he ships to everywhere in Canada.
Awesome.
So I keep telling people about him because he's able to get it in, and all those flat rates are covered on a pallet in one shot instead of one at a time, one bottle at a time. And what ends up happening is it becomes normal price, and then he ships from within Canada to anyone in Canada, and then he takes care of the sales tax perfectly. So
the brokerage fee,
yeah, that's what it is. It's if you have a very small value item, that flat rate was just crushing us, you know. And we can ship up there directly, but it's heavy.
I know what you mean.
You know,
now you just got to get distribution going in Europe and Australia, and I think you'll be set.
Those are the two places that ask the most, and we're just really waiting for that person, you know, that person who can
take it on.
Yeah, just someone who has a website, who has just the ability to ship things and is prompt and isn't gonna make people wait 3 weeks for an order or something. You know, it just has to be a certain kind of place that, you know. And we haven't really had anybody really reach out anyway. We're being picky about it, but we also don't have any options
over there for them for truck washing. There might already be somebody there that's got the market.
If you go out to those areas of the world, you get other brands like Nerda, which they look pretty good. I haven't really been able to play with those ones, but they look pretty awesome. The active foam stuff and all that, and
Coach Kemmy's got their active high pH foam too.
Oh, I'll have to try that. Yeah.
You can get it. I think they only sell it in 5 liters. I don't think they sell it smaller. I mean, for you, obviously, you could go through that, no problem.
Yeah, I would love to try some, because I would like to figure out a way to do a single step that really gets some work.
Yeah, there is one product that's been really popular. I've tried it out. That's a touchless wash called Wash Chems. Maybe familiar with it?
Yeah, no, I've tried it, but I haven't done a lot with it. But the only thing
I think I made a video like 2 years ago putting your product up against theirs directly, and I was like, well, with Stars and Stripes you get a better clean. I was like, but with Wash Chems it's a much more simple process.
It's easier, yeah. That's the thing.
Wash Chems, that stuff is harsh on the surface. So
it has to be like 13, 14 pH generally.
Yeah. I've got a digital pH tester. I should test it out, but
it has to be really aggressive as a single step and very high pH to be on.
It's one of those ones that will start to remove the dye from the seals around the windows, and you'll see the runoff.
Oh man, yeah. You see it coming out.
Yeah,
that's scary.
It's strong stuff.
So we have
people just be careful with it. You know,
we have basically a high pH in Stripes. We have 13 pH there. The thing is that we're putting on 2 pH first with Stars, and what ends up happening is they go pretty close to neutral, depending on how much more of you use one than the other, but they end up shocking each other pretty close to neutral. So you're not really even going into the high pH range too much. And it also offers a wider range of surfactants.
Tons of times, Stars and Stripes and Wash Chems. And I will say, Stars and Stripes, I have never once run into any issue on any surface with it, streaking, leaving a mark that I can't get off. Wash Chems did leave a bunch of streaks on paint that I left it on a little bit too long for. I found the sweet spot for Wash Chems. It's great on wheels. Stuff just destroys brake dust.
Really gets out of it. Yeah,
and you know the browning on the tires, it just kills it. But it's a little too aggressive, I think. Which they sell their Pro 100, which is just the same thing, just less concentrated, which I'm like, I don't see the point in that. But
oh, so the Pro 50 is better than the Pro 100?
yeah, I asked them what the difference was. I just said Pro 50 is just more concentrated, same product.
Oh, okay. I couldn't tell. I wasn't sure what the difference
Yeah,
was.
I wasn't either, but I noticed they have different dilution ratios. So I'm like, that might, that kind of indicated it. And then I asked them, like, yeah, this is just, more concentrated. So we we advertise this for people with cars and, painted, glossy trucks. So that way they're not risking too much.
I'd rather not clean a vehicle enough than clean it too much, from my perspective.
That is a good point. There is such thing as cleaning a vehicle too much. So
that's like the streaks you mentioned, right?
Like, oh yeah,
or the window seals and all that.
And then the detailer's world, the less you are physically in contact with the vehicle, the better, because the more often you wash your car, you're going to start to see more swirls in it and everything. And if you're somebody who's anal about that, it's going to drive you crazy.
That's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, it's I have an extra layer of concern when I build mine, because nearly all of my customers are like polished aluminum, nice like show trucks. And polished aluminum is, I don't know if you've spent any time working on that. You probably have.
I've ran into it a couple times. Some people get polished aluminum wheels on their cars, and not my favorite.
So we're talking about, I have customers who have a 53-foot trailer that's just a mirror, and polished aluminum is the most difficult thing to clean without damaging that I am aware of. It's very easy to mess it up.
Yeah. And
so that is my threshold where I can't really go any harder, because if I do, it's anywhere from depending on the amount of aluminum that gets damaged, it's anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000 labor to fix it.
Yeah, it's even generally like when cleaning aluminum wheels, the only products people will use are just soap and water, or they'll use a iron remover because it's not harsh on the surface, but it has more cleaning power. It just stinks badly. Yeah. But like even if you're just putting spraying on tire cleaner, like you got to be really careful.
Yeah, and that's when people tell me like, you should just use, LA is totally awesome, it works just the same, or that you should just use Purple Power, it works just the same, or whatever. Like, the difference is I have to design degreasers that don't damage polished aluminum. I have to. There's no way
your degreaser is the only degreaser I know about that is also a wash soap, depending on the dilution ratio.
It's sodium metasilicate, so it's very flexible cleaner.
Okay, so it's not sodium hydroxide like most of them.
No, it's like sodium metasilicate. Yeah. And that allows it to go on pretty good if you need to. But
it's really slick too. Really slick feeling.
Very slick, and it foams really good.
Oh yeah.
It's a very good product. I'm working on version 2 of everything right now. So you mentioned like new products. I'm working on iron remover with calcium thioglycolate, same awful smelling stuff as everybody else has. I'm just looking to figure out what I am missing from my own line. Like you mentioned before, like, you have one website, I need some of this or I need some of that. I just want to have like all the solutions that I need when I'm working.
It also helps get people to that free shipping throughold too, or there's like, if I spend 20 more bucks, what can I grab?
Yeah, 100%. So like, I'm working on that, but I'm working on version 2 of everything. So Stars and Stripes has the powdered version, which is one format. Now I also have that fancy lance we were looking at earlier with the Real Deal soap injector, and that needs a super concentrated liquid, and that might as well stay the gallon jugs like I do now. The liquid version of Stars and Stripes is going to have a pH indicator in it now. So you're going to be able to foam the first step Stars on as blue foam, and then Stripes has red foam.
But they're not the actual colored foam.
But they're not just dye, they're pH indicators. So when they mix, they turn brown and purple.
Dude, that's awesome.
So you'll be able, so neutral pH shows majority purple. It's very cool.
I know looking. As it is already. People like the colored snow foams just for the novelty of it. It's just fun.
But it is way more fun. It's way more fun. I love
I've got a bunch of them, and they like. Obviously, they'll stain your concrete if you let them sit there and dry.
Yeah,
you gotta make sure you rinse them away. But
I did that test really actually on my floor too, because that's one of my concerns. I put it on where my epoxy. Somebody did a burnout and took some epoxy off over here, and I put it there and I let it dry. I put it on at 4-to-1, like as if it was in a foam cannon, and let that dry. And then I put it straight and I let that dry, and it didn't stain.
That's good.
But it's not as colorful as some of the colorful snow foams. So I'm not sure
if it really need to be. I mean, if your idea is pH indicator, then
Yep.
okay, I don't need this to be the bluest of blues and the reddest of reds.
Yeah.
Like I just need
No,
some visual indicator to
that.
know.
Yeah, it's not like as much color as some of the ones you'll see, but the thing is, I don't want people to have to use it very strong just to see the color either.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, you talk about blue and red. I mean, the color versions of Stars and Stripes are so blue and so red in the jugs. It's
Yeah.
like Stripes looks
I've
like
got
blood.
this.
It's so crazy.
The ones I've got like a yellow, a blue, a pink, and a green soap. And like when I'm pouring those out, like in their concentrated forms to dilute them, it just looks like straight food coloring. I'm like, dude, if I get this on my hands, like
you're gonna be colored too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have some fancy looking hands.
So the only thing I was debating with that one was, if somebody spills it in their car and gets it on their floor, and like those, I'm trying to think of different angles, right? Of like what drama could come from that. And
I mean,
so far, I don't know.
The way you ship everything, I think you got your bases covered because I mean, most people accept responsibility of spilling things in their own vehicle. So
but I still don't want bad things to happen. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, it'd just be a long time with an extractor, a lot of foam, but
you could get it probably. Yeah. So there's that. We're working on. I'm building a salt neutralizer too, which we have it wrapped up. It's got a rust inhibitor built into it, and I just had a lot of people.
Is this going to be something? So like I see a lot of stuff from Salt's Gone. Obviously, they're probably like the biggest name for that right now. Is this going to be something that I can fill up a container with and throw some rusty tools in, and it'll pull the rust off?
I don't know. It's a good idea for a test. I should try that because my concept is more for vehicles to take salt off of there, but also leave some rust in it.
Well, apparently that's how Salt's Gone started, and then people started realizing like I can also soak my tools in this, and told them, and they were just like, oh, okay, yeah, we weren't really aware of that, but that's awesome. So
that's really cool. Yeah, so that I should do that. I should play with that. And the goal is just to be a 100 to 1 dilution ratio, panel impact ratio.
And that I think that's going to be great too. Is it going to foam your rust inhibitor?
Yeah, it foams.
Nice. Okay.
But I'm still debating whether or not I'm going to have that be a dedicated single step thing because you still see some residue. I don't know if it could be road film too, but like a single step anything, you don't really get all the residue out of there. And I want to debate whether I'm going to release that as a standalone thing with rust inhibitor, kind of like you mentioned, Salt's Gone, or Salt Away would be another very similar one, I guess. But I want to debate whether to put that into its own product or just build the rust inhibitor into Stars and Stripes. So like it would be, because Stars and Stripes does a better job of getting everything clean, as clean as possible, and getting all of any residue of anything out.
I mean, as it is, Stars already, because it's an acid, it's a salt neutralizer, right? It's just not a rust.
It will help. Yeah, it definitely does remove all the salt. I mean, it does a great job at getting all the salt off of there, but it doesn't do anything for rust protection. So I'm thinking of maybe throwing that in if we can. It depends on whether we can or not, I guess. It would be pretty cool to combine
that'd be good for like the winter during and after to get all that salt off your vehicle. And
the disadvantage is, so a lot of municipalities, let's say they have an applicator they drive over for their vehicles when they come back to the yard. That's going to be a single step applicator.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the reasoning to have it be a single step, like a Salt's Gone or something like that. What else am I working on? The interior cleaner, I'm trying to make progress there, but all of our concepts are last place versus all the different ones I've brought in that I really like more. So we have to get that to the spot where it's nice.
Process.
The concrete dissolver, working on that, but that has to be
nice. Dude, you know how many people in detailing ask about concrete dissolving products because they just, in the detailing world of companies that sell car care, vehicle care, truck care, whatever products, nobody sells something like that. You got to go to the hardware store, and then is this going to be safe on the paint? Blah blah blah. So I think like having something like that from a company that's like, hey, we know this is safe on the surface.
Yep,
it's going to be good. We've
been using glycolic acid for that.
Okay.
So glycolic is very expensive. It's used in dermatology as it removes dead skin cells.
Oh.
So it's actually helpful for your skin. So anyway,
it removes concrete. There you go.
But it also removes concrete.
It removes a lot of things, apparently.
So that's an interesting application for that. And I've made it in my past. I haven't made it for a while.
Yeah, and that's like one of those like once in a while products. I don't think people are gonna mind paying more for it because it's not like you use the entire bottle in one day.
Well, I still make some of it for a couple of different concrete pumping companies.
Oh, cool. They probably need it. Sure.
Yeah, they need it, and I have one fellow out in Cape Cod, Nick Pacillo is his name, Pacillo Concrete Pumping. Awesome trucks. You wouldn't believe that these are working trucks, but they're concrete pumper trucks with pure polished aluminum, fresh paint, and he uses our concrete dissolver to keep it that way, and he likes it, and it doesn't damage his aluminum. So I already have a solution. I just have to figure out how to manage expectations on the internet. Because like if you say you have a concrete dissolver, somebody might be trying to get rid of their sidewalk or something. I don't know. Like it's like you have this very
This
specific
didn't get rid of my
amount.
sidewalk,
Yeah,
man. Like my driveway's
you have a
still
very
here. What the hell?
specific amount of concrete that something as gentle as glycolic acid is going to be able to take off.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work as well as muriatic. And you
Well,
have
I
to get
think
that
like with
across.
because you've got this advantage of, since you are the owner operator of the company as well as the person making the content, you're in this unique position where you can create a product and then immediately put a
Yeah.
video up on how it works.
Yeah, that's I don't think about that. I guess
Because
that
a
is
lot of
true.
people they're doing one or the other. They're at the face of the company doing the social media stuff, or
Yeah.
they're cooking up everything and selling it, but they're not doing the videos. So
Yeah, well, that's a tough balance. I'll tell you something right now. I put in a lot of time to be able to do both of those things, that's for sure.
definitely
But
a
I
unique
like it
position you
though.
don't see.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I don't actually know of any other brands. I know brands that'll make videos, but they're not like fully invested into having a YouTube channel be a thing. Like, it's
I
just,
think,
hey, I
yeah.
upload this to my YouTube channel for my customers, but like I'm looking at your YouTube channel on my other screen, but like it's like this is a YouTube channel to come and watch videos and be entertained and
Yeah.
learn some things, So
I think I realized I started following Matt Mormon a long time ago, probably 5, 6 years ago on
yeah.
his YouTube channel, and just you mentioned Obsessed Garage before, and it's like that was when it clicked for me. Was watching how he was just himself, and it wasn't scripted. It wasn't like a big plan. It was just he's just really
And that,
into
I think
this.
that's
You know
like
what I
one of
mean?
the things about the Obsessed Garage brand that just like makes it
It's
what it is.
fantastic.
Like
Yeah, it's fantastic.
He's just unapologetic, whether you like him or you dislike him. Like
Yeah,
that's just
and
he is who he is.
that's an advantage to be half likable, half dislikable. You need to almost have people going both
Yeah.
directions
And then he's
to
still
kind of
answering
drive it.
questions on social media. So
Yeah, I think I like him. I think I like his style. I got his stool here. Well, it's the Viper chair, but I made sure to get the
so
Obsessor
OG,
from him so
yeah,
it'd have
yeah.
the hex on it. Because I found that very inspiring that he could just be a normal person without like being like, that it's easy to look at YouTube and think of like Mr. Beast, which is I enjoy his stuff, but
It's
it's
a full
so like
production company.
produced and it's the way of talking and you're like yelling and like there's 2 second cuts, every
Yeah,
cut is two
yeah.
seconds in. It's like I think that watching Obsessed Garage made it seem approachable to me. Like, oh, I think I could do
Yeah,
that,
and that's the two
So
ways of doing videos is either like this is a production, I'm doing a character, I'm not normally like this, but this is
yeah,
how I do my videos, which that's
yeah.
cool. There's a lot of good
It
stuff
was
there. Then you got the other side where it's just like I'm literally just being myself and recording what I'm doing and
yeah,
sharing it with your viewers. Like I know
right,
PewDiePie, he's probably his channel's massive. But
yeah,
literally, if you ever watch his videos, even from back then to today, he's changed over the years, obviously, but he's always just himself. And I think that's
right.
why
That's the
people
best way
continue
to
to
be.
follow him over like the last decade.
It's literally named YouTube. Like it should be you. It's
It's
not.
you
It's
on
not a.
TV. It's
Once I
the
realized that I didn't have to be some kind of character or something, it was super easy.
Yeah.
And it was still a little
I
weird to
see
have a
people
camera
and I'm
aimed
just
at you,
like, there's no way you're that happy in real life. Like you're too happy. It's kind of freaking me out. Like, you know,
Yeah, no. So, yeah, I would say I would credit Obsessed Garage with helping me get to that. So it's cool to hear that, you're saying that, we're kind of like that version of the trucking
Yeah,
world in a
I've been
way.
saying that for like since I discovered the brand, like because there's the chemical side
Yeah.
of your business, which is great, and then what a lot of people don't pay attention to, I would think, is the other side of all the solutions you put together for wash bays.
Yeah,
that's not something you can find. You usually got to go out and find all the
yeah,
stuff yourself, and that's what Matt
that's
and
true.
his team
Yeah,
did for the enthusiast at home to set up their garage as a wash bay for their cars.
yeah.
You've done that for the trucking fleet.
And that was a very natural thing for me to do because that's what I already was doing anyway.
Yeah.
It was just a matter of starting to film
And
it,
now
you know.
you've
So it
like put
was,
yourself there, and you're just like, okay, now I've got my own
yeah,
bay, and things just
yeah,
come to you naturally. You're like, oh, you know what? This would be really nice if I put this over here, and then
yeah,
you start showing
yeah.
people like, hey, check this out. I can put
And
this in your shop. So
I think down the road, getting enough help to make sure everything keeps running smoothly, it's always been a challenge. But I think we're getting closer to where
yeah.
it
Well, dude,
works,
I
you
mean,
know.
your bay looks
Um,
immaculate, and I have to
Thank
say,
you.
like,
Yeah.
how you were saying about how you've watched Matt over the years and been inspired. I think for me that was like probably Larry Casilla was probably the first one, and then
Here's another one. I
Brian
agree
from
with that
Apex
too.
Detail, even Scott from
Yeah.
Dallas Paint Correction. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I spoke with him
I
a
drew
while back.
inspiration from these guys because it's like I want to share my knowledge with people. I want to get
Yeah.
very technical about it and be myself at the same time. And
Yeah.
that's what I've drawn from all. And there are three very different personalities. These three guys,
I
but they're
think
always
Scott
themselves. Yeah,
from Dallas Paint Correction. Yeah, I agree with that too. He was another inspiration for me. I thought it was really cool to watch somebody just, and how well that works. Like
yeah,
that works
dude.
really
And
well.
Scott, like, it's not even he's just like, here's my cell phone camera video, but here's some helpful information. Like, it wasn't
Yeah,
this big production.
and
Um,
that's the most important thing is that the information and who you are. And then Larry Cassillo is another one. I definitely agree with
Yeah,
that too.
I
I think we're
still
on the same
remember,
page.
like, this was in 2014, I think it was. I had a car and I wanted to clay bar it. And I hadn't done this before, so I looked up on YouTube how to clay bar a car. It was a video of
Yeah,
Larry out, like, he was out doing, mobile detailing at some Mercedes that, like, felt like sandpaper. Like, he's, you could hear the sound of him rubbing his hands on it. And
yeah,
this is how you clay bar a car. And
yeah.
that's like awesome. That's exactly what I needed. Thank you. And then I clay barred my
That's
car. So,
cool. Yeah, and they following ever since, right?
yeah.
So I mean, it's fun to see that stuff come together. And like one other thing that Obsessed Garage does is like travel around and set people up. And I was thinking like tinkering around with the idea of getting back into that kind of stuff. Like I haven't built wash bays for people myself. I've been providing the kits. You know what I mean? And they video chat with me and they like they'll say
Yeah.
where should we
Well,
put
yeah,
it?
going on
I'll just be
site,
like,
and then you could make that a video too. Like, that'd be pretty
yeah,
cool. So,
I think that would be really fun to go out and travel around and I don't know how we would work it if maybe we would just deliver their order ourselves, like they didn't even know we were coming or something. We just like set it
take a
up
look
for them or
around.
something.
Got any questions? Set something
Yeah,
up, maybe. Like, yeah.
but I think that's really fun to see like what Obsessed Garage is doing with all of the different builds they're doing for like Adam LZ. They just did that really cool barn build just the other day. I love that kind of stuff, but he has a lot more solutions than I do. He also has like all the flooring stuff and the audio systems and tools and like, but that's just a matter of
Well, I mean, if
manpower,
you've been
so I'm
watching
trying
him,
to
you know
build
he
it.
was an audio guy long before he was doing anything else. So,
Yeah. And it's really cool to watch someone just pursue each one of their passions, whether it seems to, I mean, it all goes together really well, but he's, getting into remodeling houses and stuff. Very cool to watch. And it just kind of is nice. It's still inspiring to me still because it opens my mind to like, okay, we're not boxed into, one thing.
yeah,
You can go any direction you want.
bring
And,
other things in that tie into what you're doing. Yeah.
yeah. And so, I'm always looking for more of that. And hopefully, I still have some more hiring to do, I think, just to keep things smooth here. But if we could have enough help, we'll be able to get out and do some more interesting things. And I'm bringing on one new guy who's my new tech support guy for the par 800 number for people. And he's going to help with quality control on the machines, because they get built
Awesome.
up in Canada and they get shipped into us. And then they're usually wired backwards and like plumbing's weird and all this stuff. So like we have to rip through them. So he'll be doing that. And then at the same time, he's a welder. I'm a welder. He's really good with controls. I'm familiar with controls, motors and pumps. He knows all of that. So we're gonna do some
I
weird
found the right
things
guy.
together. We're gonna do some weird things though. We're gonna create things. Like I want to start experimenting with like the 110 volt Ryobi power washers. The little ones that I used on that excavator recently. Um, I want to tie like 6 of them together and make it a
Get a
commercial
Kranzel to
power
work.
washer. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
See,
I felt
when I
that. A
saw
lot of
that,
people
I was
wondered why I
like,
did.
when you did that with the curtains, I was like, oh man, don't let Obsessed Garage see that. That's like
I
that's
know.
their bread and butter brand right there.
I think it's not even I think they make a really good power washer. I think it's definitely one of the best ones out there. I just happened to buy a used one from someone who hated it because it wasn't
You're working.
working for
So,
them.
and
And
it was
I
funny.
thought I could do something with it. And then once I started using it, I realized I didn't really have time to repair it or source the parts or spend the time. And I thought, well, you know, maybe I can just get people talking a little bit with it and just have fun with
It was
it.
a good
You know,
bucket hoist.
it was so much fun to do it because like, I don't know, in a way, it just helps separate me from the usual. You know, I don't necessarily want to just be
I mean,
another
you
detailing
were
channel.
having
You know,
fun, so.
I want to have fun. I want to just do things to get people like to be like, whoa. And surprisingly, I thought it would have been a very unpopular thing, but it was actually really,
It was
really well
funny.
received. I don't know why.
It was just funny to watch because
So,
everyone was
it
like,
was
"Man, that's
great.
an expensive pressure washer. It's getting destroyed
Yeah.
because it
Yeah,
wasn't
and
working right."
for me it wasn't expensive. I mean,
Yeah.
it
And I
was
think we've
a
all
used
been
one,
there,
but
like when we get something and it's just not working, and like you just want to
yeah,
chuck it out the window. You're just like, yeah, it's
yeah,
destroyed.
and it's just
Got an
something
excavator here.
that's
Let's crush it. Whatever.
so. But of all things to do it to, it's just stirring the pot, I guess, with the detailing community and just getting people,
Yeah.
I'll do that every now and then, and it's not usually by accident. I did like I steamed a headliner one like not that long
Oh
ago.
no.
And I was like, "What?" I mean, nothing happened to it, but I know that you're not supposed to.
Well,
And
I
I
already
just,
know, like just using degreaser to clean interiors, like it just like triggers something in people with detailing. Like you're supposed to use a dedicated interior cleaner.
yeah. Oh, it's
And
probably
like
and certainly the smarter thing to do.
yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah,
it is. But I'm like, listen, if you know what you're doing and you're being smart about it, and it works,
yeah,
and of
yeah,
course, always be aware of the risks. Don't. I'll
yeah,
say don't wash it. Don't clean the interior of a Chevy truck with it because those things are complete crap, and you like breathe on them and it starts to peel. So
there's
you
so
probably
much
spill
nuance
water on it and
to.
start to fall apart, but whatever.
Yeah, there's so much nuance to, when you are actually a detailer, I think that you do just have a lot
Yeah.
more understanding
Well,
of
that's
what
because
things can go
cars are just
sideways.
built with crap materials, but they look nice.
Yeah,
Whereas trucks,
yeah,
like this thing's got to last a million miles. So
yeah. I mean, the idea of like, we were talking about detailers knowing a lot of the answers and having opinions about things. It's just, I think that's a natural effect of just working in that industry and having gone through the pain and seeing the expense of making the wrong choice on what you're going to use on something. And, you have a customer who has to come back and the headliner's saggy now because you did what I did in that video or whatever. I mean, it's obvious that, there's experience there to benefit from, and I'm open to it. I
yeah,
like to get
I will say
any
I
comments I
like the
can.
videos where you got some of your employees in there doing the work with you too.
Yeah,
Those are
yeah, it's
always
nice
fun to
to
watch
include
because
everybody.
like in a lot of cases you're bringing in dudes that just like they don't have experience with this, and
Yeah,
that's how the Sawzall brush came to be.
yeah, that way you get interesting ideas.
Yeah. What if we try this?
You know, there's always a lot of crazy things you can do to get something done and do it in a different
Yeah.
way. And
Or when they
I
were
think that
using your awesome sauce and instead of a dressing on the plastics, and there was like, oh wow,
oh
this
yeah,
actually looks a lot better. I think like,
sometimes you find out that something works pretty good.
yeah.
I think it's worth investigating. That's also another thing I like to do is I think one of my bigger videos was the one where I put the detailing brush straight into a Milwaukee drill and used it to clean cup
Oh
holders.
yeah.
That was something that I got to be friends with Extreme Detailing Kyle and he's with Auto Fiber now actually. And he was the one who did that originally, and I loved that, and I think I tagged him and I tried it too, and
Yeah, it
I
works.
think I got I think I got over 50 million views altogether on that, which was pretty crazy to watch that go down. Like
Yeah.
that could built up our following pretty quick because that just I think we were getting maybe 50,000 to 80,000 followers a day for like that time period. It was crazy.
That's
And you
nuts.
could
Yeah.
just watch it like racking up on the
You're
phone.
just like, wow,
It
okay.
was really neat.
It's
So
so good.
like little deep like hacks like that, sometimes it can catch on. People like to see things done in a weird way. I saw one recently where instead of using an actual like branded, detail brush, with the bristles on the sides and the hex key, I watched the guy cut a toilet scrubber brush off and then ram that in there, and it went so hard viral. It was great.
Something people don't know too is a lot of the detailing brushes, the small ones, all those are just makeup brushes sold under a different brand. Like I could go into my wife's room right now and her
and
vanity,
find the same thing.
Like one time she showed me this brush, and the casing, everything was the exact same of a detailing brush I had. It just had the makeup brand on it. And like there's a tire shine applicator I use now that's actually a foundation brush that's been rebranded for detailing. Like,
of course,
it's hilarious to see, but just they're like, it just works so well.
If you have a factory that makes those things, what are the genres that you can help fill with that? And obviously a makeup brush and a detail brush would be the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, as I tell people, I'm like, detailing and makeup kind of the same thing, dealing with sensitive surface, you want to be delicate with everything. So
that's so fascinating. I've noticed that before, but I never really actually thought maybe that was the same exact place. That makes
you'll find all kinds of things that like exist across different industries, but it's 5 times the price here and super cheap over here. Like like I've caught on to a few, and I may have inadvertently undercut some companies that were relying on selling that, but I'm just like, it is what it is, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Wow, that's
once these like direct from China companies catch on, they just start selling it themselves, and it's like, hey, we can sell it dirt cheap,
It's crazy, but man, well, dude, it's been great talking with you. I appreciate you having me on this.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, we could probably talk forever, but I guess I think so. Get back to things. So,
well, maybe we should do it again sometime. Or
absolutely. I'm still getting people for future episodes, but as I start to run out of people that I know that are willing to do it, I'm probably going to start circling back around to people I've done things with already, and we could do another one.
I'd be down anytime.
Absolutely,
it'd be cool.
Well, before we end it, Bob, where can people find you on social media, YouTube, wherever?
I'm known as Chem.X, like everywhere. So everywhere. It's like,
and then of course you got your website, Instagram, YouTube. Chem-X.com, which there's currently a sale going on that ends tomorrow, right?
Yep. Yeah. Right, what is today? Saturday. So tomorrow night tomorrow night, realistically, very early Monday morning when we can take the sale offline. But yeah, we try and leave them up till the middle of the night so people on the West Coast have a chance to do it all day.
For any people that are viewing for you need to know where to find me. There's this YouTube channel, obviously, Belvoir Auto Spa. I've got a Facebook group, Belvoir Detailing Community, and that's kind of a pretty laid back group. I'm not super strict. I like jokes. Everyone likes joking. I don't mind joking at all either. And I think that's it. And then I got a Facebook page. I don't use that much. But that's it, guys. I appreciate everybody coming out. Bob, thanks for joining me tonight. And
thank you for having me.
Catch you around, man.
Great. Awesome. We'll hopefully talk again soon.
All right. See you.
All right. See you.